its keynote sessions. The very first keynote speaker, Dr. S. Bandyopadhyay sir, joined us virtually. Dr. S. Bandyopadhyay sir, director of the Mahalanovis National Crops Forecast Center under the Department of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, New Delhi. We are honored to have Dr. S. Bandyopadhyay sir with us today. I request Dr. S. Bandyopadhyay sir to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Sir, you may start. Sir, you may start.
Okay, good morning. Can I start? Are you unable to hear me?
Yes, sir.
You can hear me, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I can start now. Okay, fine. Very good morning. Thank you for inviting me for this talk. And I will talk about resetting agricultural landscapes using geospatial intelligence. So, Honorable VC, Dr. Udani ji, Principal Dr. Patel sir, expert speaker Dr. Ranendu Ghosh ji, and speaker Dr. Madhukant Patel ji. So, very good morning, and the delegates, distinguished delegates who are present in this conference. So, this is an international conference for artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, which is very apt at the present time, and we are discussing about the agriculture, which is a highly complicated subject. So, I will share my presentation. So, hope you can see my presentation. Is it not? Okay. So, we know the Indian agriculture is highly diversified and fragmented. So, in this regard, artificial intelligence has a big role to play. It can address several structural and operational challenges in Indian agriculture. Given this diverse agroclimatic zones, smallholder farmers, and the climate variability which exists all over the country. So, in this regard, AI is viewed as a critical component for the agricultural digital public infrastructure ecosystem. And the Ministry of Agriculture also emphasizing the digital public infrastructures for the various initiatives which is running by the central government. So major areas for these AI integrations which requires various type of inputs, databases which come from the various sources like satellite, weather, ground. So when we do the integrations of the AI, it will address crop monitoring, early stage detections, precision farming and input optimizations, which is most important for the precision farming. Volume. Okay. Can you volume now? Can you can hear me? 1 minute. I will try to increase the volume. Volume.
Sir, kindly increase your volume from your end.
I am trying to do it. You are not able to hear. Uh,
Or you can use mic, sir. You can continue, sir.
okay. 1 minute. Just a minute.
You can continue with your presentation, sir.
Okay. I will try to speak little louder. Let me see. Now, so I will outline the presentation in this way. I will tell about the challenges of the Indian agriculture and some introductions about the artificial intelligence and how the MNCFs using the technology for the Indian agriculture to address the crop inventory and other aspects, and how AI in agriculture is being used, and also the government initiatives, and what is the future directions. So, as we know that agriculture is dominated by mostly by the smallholder farmers, which is more than 80%, and the average farm size is less than 2 hectares. There is a problem of pest and disease, land degradation, and moreover, agriculture uses most of the water. So, in these regards, we need to think about how we make the agriculture more sustainable for ensuring the food security for the country. Now, as artificial intelligence goes, it is, as we all know by this time, that it takes the inputs from the ML model and other sources for processing the data, and then it works like a human intelligence to bring out the subtle informations which is required to manage the different aspects. Not only agriculture, it is being used in each and every sector. Now, artificial intelligence is the buzzword. Now, how this geospatial data is being transformed, that we can see that satellite data, weather data, ground, soil, then remote sensing based indices which we develop, and the photographs which we get, it goes into the AI/ML model, and then there is a automations which provides the, earlier we used to do multispectral classifications, now random forest, SVM type of classification is being used, which requires the training of the model, and lot of data sets is required to model to perform more realistic. So it will provide the different types of requirements, address the different requirements, which includes that parcel boundary generations, whether crop is suitable for some land, whether that the pest and disease can be detected or early warning can be given, and that advisory can be sent to each farmer. So there is a concept now has come that Geo AI, geospatial AI. which is nothing but it is a combination of the remote sensing data, geographical information system (GIS), and with artificial intelligence. So earlier we used to use remote sensing and GIS used to combine and do all work. Now the artificial intelligence has come into it for automations and improving the efficiency, developing the analytics, forecastings also for the crop and its production, crop productions, and then crop acreage we are doing, and sometimes we are near real time or real time monitoring can be done, which we from MNCs do to keep the input to crop weather watch to the ministry. Spatial clustering anomaly detections is another aspects, feature extractions and enhance it will provide the decision making more sustainable and giving it to the sending it to the farmers. Now AI in precision agriculture is used in various ways for crop monitoring, variable rate where it is required. They are only now drones are used for spraying of the fertilizer, spraying of the nutrients, spraying of the pesticides. So these are the things now coming up. Even harvesting is automated. Irrigation systems for saving water, drip and sprinkler irrigations are being used more and more. Where the water scarcity is there, we know our country is more than 50% area is under rainfed. In such situations, water saving is most important. So coming to the MNCFC, Mahalanobis National Crop Forecasting Center under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. So we are also using the data-driven decision making in various sectors like agricultural monitoring, which includes the FASAL program. You know the FASAL, it was going on and developed in ISRO stack, and it is forecasting agricultural output using space agrometeorology and land-based observations. Now we are doing the digital crop survey to replace the manual survey which is being going on in the country, which leads to significant cost saving for the government. So we are providing the crop ID for the each land parcel using the satellite data and integrating with VIML analysis. We are developing national crop mapping system to collect the ground data. So one map will be generated throughout the country, and all we use this map, and all these states are being brought in this board, and this national crop mapping system will be launched shortly. And also with Space Application Center, we have started the India Potato Crop System. It is another area, and we have done last time for some up to 2021-22 that horticultural monitoring system. Those systems were used, however, again such type of horticultural crops monitoring system will be initiated shortly. Then we are doing the agrometeorological monitoring, which is most important is the drought. And this drought in NADAMS, which was going on in the ISRO in RSC, which was brought in the integrated as a operational system in Mahalanobis National Crop Forecast Center when the center was established in 2012. Now it has in 2020 drought manual has come up, which is used. I will discuss it in my subsequent slide. And we are also providing weekly weather watch to the ministry, which regularly monitors the crop status in the country. We are also carrying out the crop insurance project, which is called the YesTech, Yield Estimation Using Technology, for the more transparent for crop insurance and the needy farmers, and where the crop loss has happened, we detect using the technology. There is also a system has been developed for the ESTEC program using with the help of the collaborations of ISRO, ICAR, and other organizations, and also your private companies or industries are also playing an important role as a technology partner with the government of India. We have also launched the weather information network and data system to collect hyperlocal weather system, weather data, which is the most important for the crop insurance and also detecting crop losses. We are also developing the crop pick. It is a AI ML driven approach using the field photographs to detect the crop stage, crop name, what is the crop, and whether there is any damage for the crop. So another part is the digital platforms. MNCFC is involved in developing the drought portal, advanced drought portal, and also the most important thing is the receipt decision support systems, which we will discuss. So in crop inventory, as we know that we are doing that the rice mapping, it is some examples we are giving, and there is the 10 crops which we are covering, that rice, wheat, cotton, mustard, sugarcane, gram, and so on. This rice map we use the 3-day data, and we see the transplantations with using the SAR data, particularly the microwave data we use to detect the transplantations in the 3 days, which is goes on. So that due to the specular reflectance from the background of this of water, and then crop grows, which gives the scattering, and scattering increases, the signatures also increases in the backscattering domain. So it helps us, this principle helps us to detect the rice crops very accurately. Even we are achieving more than 90% accuracy for the rice crop fertilization. Then comes satellite-based digital crop survey, which we have mentioned. Here also AIML is integrated in form of the crop classifications, and the parcel cadastral boundary which state gives us. Based on that, we superimpose that classified map, ML-based map which we generate, and we give the mid-season assessment on crop ID, particularly the monocrop area under the right, and this picture is showing that wheat, mustard, and other crops, how it has been detected, and this messages goes to the farmers. They check that whether these are the correct areas. So in this way, we have achieved 95 to 98% accuracy in different areas of the country, which we have given in mid-season assessment of the crop. And in this, for 3.8 million parcels in the last Kharif seasons, we have identified as a pilot studies, and from the next seasons, we will make it operational. And 42 million parcels for wheat and mustard is identified in 180 districts this Rabi season. So we are increasing the number of crops in this. We will bring gram, cotton, mustard, sugarcane, and we will provide this type of digital crop survey analytics to the government, and which will provide the significant cost saving for the over the manual survey which is being carried out presently. Now, satellite-based surveillance also we are doing. How we are doing from the national scale to the field scale. So you can see in Karnataka the deviations of the NPVI, how it is deviating from last 5 years. You take the average of last 5 years and this year. So we have detected, this information goes to the crop weather watch for the government, and we have detected that Karnataka in certain portions in that districts, northeastern district of Karnataka, there is a red patches, so which indicates there is a problem. So we analyze that problem, and we find out that last year in 2025, it was the NDVI was high, that red color which shows the bigger of the vegetation, and then this year this is not there. So when we analyze that field level analytics, we carried out, and then we found that the release of the water from the Tungabhadra dam, it is creating problem because of the low water content in that dam. So that water has not been released. So it was found out, and the state was contacted, and this type of situations can brought out through this satellite-based crop surveillance. Then early start of the Rabi seasons, we have now as some this time the rainfall is good, particularly in the northern part of the country. So we saw in the Rajasthan, southeast of the Rajasthan, that mustard crop is being sown early as compared to the last year. So this type of analytics is can be carried out using the data at the national level. Then you can go to the district, state, district, and then field level to find out, and that required the coordination and collaborations from the various agencies to take part in this. So information is most important from the field to corroborate which we are carrying out, which we are analyzing through the remote sensing data. Now, the national crop mapping system also we are launching. So where that it will be the standardized method, and it will generate the annual crop registries, and we collaborate various scientific and technical organizations to establish the sustainable comprehensive crop mapping systems. Main objective is to collect the ground data sets from the various crops which is growing throughout the country. The implementing agency will be the state agriculture or the remote sensing center. There will be the technical review agencies like ICAR, ISRO, and MNCFC will work as a nodal agency to coordinate all these agencies, and this information will go to the PFW, and it will be helpful for training this ML model and improving the crop accuracy. So we are targeting 20 states, and the 38 estimates will provide in 3 seasons using the classifications algorithms. So the collaborators, as it is shown, with the international institutes, central government organization, and the state remote sensing, and also state departments. Next, as we have discussed in earlier, that MNCFC is developing the decision support system. It is a large data sets are coming, and we are archiving these data sets, and we are getting the data sets from the various departments like IMD, ISRO, ICR, Ministry of Jal Shakti. So these data sets, and also we are also collecting the data sets and maps which we are generating, we are putting it in the geospatial platforms. Is the CPSS. There is 16 module in this field parcel mapping, ground truth collections, crop inventory, crop yield estimation, drought, flood, vulnerability assessments, and also there is a module for the farm advisory. Using this analysis of these data sets, how that farmers, we can send the information to farmers in real time or near real times. If there is a problem, if there is a drought, how they can save the crops. And also there is through the IARI, we have integrated the climatic risk and adaptation options, where the maps are being generated by the ICR to show that which areas are more vulnerable as far as climate is concerned. So this is the example, the automated field parcel boundary segmentations. And this we have developed, we have a MOU with the Google, and that background is the Google image. And here each field parcel has been automatically generated in CDSS using the algorithms which has been provided by the Google. And here what we can do just for a use cases example. If we click any of the parcel, we can see how that parcel is behaving over the time. So temporal behavior is the NDVI of the parcel can be seen. In 3 years, we can compare 22, 23, 23, 24, and 24, 25. So we can see that this has again it has increased here in 24, 25. That means the vegetation is growing. This crop has been sown, and then but in these last 2 years the crop has not been sown. So each parcel can be analyzed based on the requirement. Then in drought assessment, we are following 2020 drought manual, where the two types of indicators are being used. One is the mandatory indicators, which is the dry spell or standardized precipitation index based on the rainfall, which gives us the trigger 1. So based on that deviations, if the deviations is negative, the trigger 1 is setting. And if the trigger 1 is not setting, there is no drought. So sufficient water is available for growing of the crop. If trigger 1 is activated, then we goes to the impact indicator. What are the impact indicator? That is the crop sown area, remote sensing based indices, NDVI, LSWI, soil moistures. We get also from the SMAP type of satellite data, and hydrological data, that water storage, groundwater irrigation. So all these data sets are brought. In 3 of the indices, when we analyze that there is a type of problem or deviations, negative deviation exists, so then drought is severe. If any 2 of the indices are severe, these negative deviations, then moderate, and otherwise, if there is no problem, the situation is normal. So this is the drought monitoring dashboards, which was developed with the SAC Ahmedabad, and has been integrated, and it shows that the deviations of the rainfall, cumulative rainfall deviations, how it is over the country, it can be analyzed. Then one can come to the state, and then going to the district and taluk level, what is this situation. So it improves that disaster risk management and cut down times for the relief measures which government wants to take for that area which is affected by the drought. Similarly, in case of the flood, this time we have given to the Punjab, we use the microwave data, pre and post image has been analyzed, and the subtraction of the image gives us the inundated areas. Then we superimpose the crop map on the inundated areas to find out the damage due to the flood situations in the country. Also, we do the status monitoring of the crop harvest, how the crop being harvested in the Punjab. This is the example has been shown over the time, and how much area is harvested, that also is being shown. And then also we see whether in these areas in the winter seasons there is a hailstorm damage occurs in the field. So the areas also which are damaged can be identified using this CDSS platform. Similarly, we also see the post-kharif fallows, where the crop can be grown. After post-kharif, there is a residual soil moisture content exists, and this soil moisture content can be utilized for growing of these short duration pulses crops or oilseed crops in these areas. This is the example of the Kalahandi area of the Odisha, and if we monitor, we can see that some of the areas is left behind and those areas can be utilized as a post-kharif area for use for growing of the pulses and oilseeds, which will improve the return for the farmers and benefit them in the economy. Another example is the crop diversifications. If we grow similar type of monocrop in an area, this is left side is the again in Punjab, and right side is the left side is the rice, and right side is the left side is the wheat crop, and right side is the rice crop. And if so we can analyze if same type of crop is growing over the last 6 years, 7 years or more. So there is no crop rotations is adopting by the farmers in that land. So that land is not be sustainable, because we need to bring in the leguminous crops which will fix nitrogen, improve the soil fertility, and also the soil structure. Such type of informations can be generated using this information. Again, the spectral signatures, all of us knows how it varies from 0.4 micrometer to 2.4 micrometer, from the visible to the SWIR range to near infrared range, and the near infrared range is mostly used for the detecting the crop figure, and if there is a vegetation stress, the figure is shows like this, and everywhere there is particularly in the this NIR region, near infrared region, the reflectance is less. Again, when the water content of the crop is less, the vegetations will show in the spectral reflections that water stress means that absorptions will decrease. So this type of characteristics we use for the machine learning models. It goes as different types of analytics. We can do the supervised, unsupervised, deep learning, and hybrid. There are different types of ML model is used in such, which so various organizations which they have made this model working for them, so that they use and they train the model using the ground data in these situations to detect the stress. However, the crop pest and disease is the field is coming up. Not much work is done, because there is lot of scope to do the early warning, forewarning of the pests and diseases, which will help the farmer. So there is government initiatives also there, that is called the National Pest Surveillance Systems, which uses the data from the field and it trains the model, and which goes to the farmers as an advisory. Now the rice, cotton, maize, mango, chili, this type of crops, the advisories are being practiced. And again, in Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, we are contemplating the yield estimations, crop situation assessment, dispute resolutions, SST called smart sampling technique. Then winds network, as we told, we are developing, and also the crop pick that photographs analysis using AIML. So YesTech program, that yield estimation using technology, now going on in 12 states, particularly 3 crops, rice, wheat, and soybean, and mostly 5 models that depends on the state, which type of model they use, which consists of semi-physical, AIML, crop simulations, then ensemble models, and another proxy CHF, crop health index, is also used as a proxy indicator in YesTech. And in the winds network, that weather network, the plan is to develop in each panchayat level one ARG, automatic rain gauge, and each block level one AWS. So this is being done with partners, who the industries, and we are working with the India Meteorological Department to setting up the winds network throughout the country. This crop pick, which we use the AI ML analytics, which collects the field photo, then data cleaning is done, then feature engineering using the ML model, and we train the model and we deploy the model. The this part is this two part is being done now, and as soon as it is done, we will bring it in the operational domain. So, what is our future directions or way forward is to enhance this crop forecasting, improving the accuracy of the crop. More number of crops need to be brought in this fasal fold. So, digital infrastructure is being created where the AI ML model is being integrated and partnering with the various organizations, ISRO, IMD, and other organizations, IITs. We are trying, and also industries like Google, IBM, and other Indian industries. We are trying to make it a more robust system, and in the crop insurance sector, providing the more transparent crop insurance for the farmers. We are working towards that, and we have developed and you have seen this tech framework, and that risk profiling and early warning systems for drought. We have developing with IIT Mumbai and also IWMI and ICR, and then biotic stress detection and forewarning. We're working with InSpace ISRO for developing such models. So ultimately, what we will do is we integrate the technology for automated crop mapping, hyperlocal advisories, crop diversifications, and even the supply chain optimization, which is most important for the farmer to marketing their products. So thank you very much. This is presentations from my side. So I will happy to answer your question. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir, for explaining how AI playing a vital role in strengthening the agriculture of India. Any question from the audience?
Well, sir, thank you so much for the insightful knowledge. My question is specific, like we know in AI, that any model, it is as good as the data set it's trained on. And sometimes models may perform well on a data set, but may not give the expected result in the real life scenario. So my question is, how do you, in this particular domain in agriculture, how do you tweak the biases better so that we can avoid, falsified data sets and all? Like you showed a slide in which it was about the data cleaning. Can you please give us a bit more deep dive into it?
You are not much clear to me. However, what I have understood, you are telling about how the biases in the model can be removed, if I am correct.
Yes, sir. Specifically in this idea.
So why bias comes in the model? Model bias comes in the model when the model is not trained properly. So you need to train the model because AIML is an artificial intelligence. So work like a human being, a prototype of human's intelligence. Uh, the artificial intelligence brought some level because here computer programs is being used where the good memory and processing powers which we human being cannot do. So bias can be removed only if you are training the model using the correct data set. If you train the ML model with the biased data sets, it will give the bias. Wrong data set, it will give the wrong data set. So when you set up the model, you validate the model, you calibrate the model, then validate the model, then only it can be used. For that, most of the work is going on in that direction, and which model will be suitable for what type of situations, that also need to be done.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much. So, wish your conference a great success. Thank you.
Thank
So
you, sir.
I will disconnect now. Huh?
Yes, sir.
If, thank you.
Now I request Honorable Provost SPU Dr. P.M. Udani sir to welcome our next speaker, Dr. Ranendu Ghosh sir, founder of Satleo Labs, Ahmedabad, with bouquet and memento. Dr. Ranendu Ghosh, founder and CTO of Satleo Labs, Ahmedabad, and distinguished expert in satellite remote sensing and sustainable agriculture. Over to you, sir. Okay, it is on.
Good morning and namaskar. I have a feeling, strong feeling. I was in DICT as a faculty, and generally, our PG students are strength are less. So used to have a kind of a classroom, 20-25 students maximum. But I am having a feeling as if I am teaching a UG student. Their number were very high. More than 300 students used to sit, and this kind of a big hall up we have. And I have a feeling that I am almost teaching a kind of a, or sitting in the classroom of a UG class I am taking. I have a feeling, I thought I must share with you. Well, I start with a question which was raised by to the earlier speaker. How do you remove the bias? It's a very, very vital question and very pertinent question. There are biases. Biases coming from, number one, from the model. And if you have a linear model, the biases will be less because it's almost an exact solution. But mostly in nature, these are all nonlinear models, which means you'll have to reduce the bias by some process. And what is that process? Process is that you take more number of observations and then go something called the loss function, if you remember. If you have studied deep learning, there is something called loss function. You have try to bring the loss function as initially it will be very high, and then it will be going down, and finally it will converge. When it will be converging, you will realize that the loss function is the minimum, but it is never zero. Please remember. So the processes of reducing the bias from a model is number one, from the model itself, whether it's a linear or non-linear, and second, the data type. If you take more data, then basically you are trying to reduce the bias maximally. But if you have the less number of the observations, your bias will be higher. And that's the general perception. I believe it is clear now, right? Okay, thank you. I thought I was clear because I was tempting to answer that time. You are sitting just behind me. Okay, so it is written both my earlier affiliation and current affiliation. Current affiliation, of course, as Professor Udani has said, I am the Satleo founder and director. And my earlier affiliation also, at one point of time, Professor Udani and myself were calling in ISRO. Subsequently, I shifted to DICT as a professor and dean. And then, after completing that assignment, I finally decided to open a startup. Because I believe a startup gives an opportunity to express your feelings and thoughts more exclusively than what you will be doing as a part of an institution. Institution, you have a fixed job to do, but here you want to do it And why I was tempted to come to this startup, that I will tell you later. But at the outset, I thank the organizers, especially Professor Udani, for inviting me to talk on this August authoring. And as I said, I am delighted to see all of you in front of me as the students. So it's a privilege for me to come and talk to you again. So the topic which was assigned to me is something called the AI in geospatial database. Now there are 3-4 terms I should try to clarify before I go to the next step. What is AI? The AI is, in simple term, is a kind of a system which can mimic human intelligence. Right? Now let us say morning you might be having some kind of a chatbot in your at home. If you come and on it, the first thing he says, good morning. Now good morning is a kind of an expression which is something called the human intelligence. Right? It doesn't come automatically. So a chatbot which is calling you in the morning as a good morning is also mimicking the human intelligence. So it's a AI. There are some knowledge, some intelligence has gone into it. So that is one part of the AI, which is an umbrella kind of an application. And the second part is something called the machine learning. It's also a term which has been used widely. And machine learning is basically the major component of AI. AI doesn't work on its own. AI works as a combination of both hardware and software. There are certain electronics, there are certain other optics or maybe some other system, and these are being controlled by some kind of a electronics circuit, which is already programmed. Now what is this program? These programs are generally some kind of a linear algebra or statistical functions, right? So the machine learning is something what is known as basically the heart of the AI. It is the functional part of an AI which you are trying to implement certain function through AI, in the AI. So that is what is known as a machine learning. So it learns, the machine learns on its own from the data itself. See, if I am giving you 5 or 10 images and these images are dog, cat, camel, whatever it is, it will learn on its own by looking into the pattern of the image. And if you can tell it will be able to identify these 3 patterns on its own to some extent. But it may not be able to name it. Name means this image belongs to dog, this image belongs to cat. He will not be able to tell you. The machine cannot tell you. But machine will be able to identify this is object 1, this is object 2, this is object 3. Now to identify an object 1 with another living animal or living object is something you will have to tell him. Look, this pattern is this, so this is a dog. This pattern is this, so this is a camel. So this is what the machine intelligence is incorporated through certain functions. And that is what is primarily the machine learning is all about. And the third is geospatial database. What is geospatial? Geospatial means any object on the Earth's surface which is referred as a function of latitude and longitude. In Earth, the coordinates are always referred to latitude and longitude. Latitude means above the equator, down and below the equator, and the longitude is right hand or left hand side of the equator, right? So any object on the Earth's surface can be referred with the means of a latitude and longitude. So when you talk of a geospatial, I am trying to say that this object's xy is latitude this. If I say where I am sitting here, we can refer this area, this location with the help of a latitude longitude. So these are the 3 basic terms which is being used in my presentation. But before I come to my presentation, I will just try to talk about the company which is today my startup. And this startup was started in 2023 after I retired from DAIICT. I registered it in 2023 and 24 we have started. And then, the major part of a startup is that how do you get money? The first component is this. You'll have to go with a begging bowl to different VCs and then tell them your ideas, your concept. And if they are convinced, then they will give you, okay, take this much amount and try to prove your concept. Something like this. And this business is not very smooth, not very easy. Convincing someone and he is investing on your ideas, they will also try to find out how much you are competent, how much you are capable, and how much you are committed. All three C's are required. How much you are committed, how much you are confident, how much you are capable. These three C's are required. Once that matches, then yes, people start putting it. But the advantage is that, in this game, if you can convince at least one major good company, the rest will follow. It is something like typically our Indian mindset. You try to follow the best person without thinking what would be the consequences. क्योंकि आप ये सोचते हैं कि इसने सोच लिया तो मतलब अच्छा ही होगा. That's why if you can capture one marquee VC, then smaller VCs will always follow. And that is exactly as happened to us. We could get one marquee VCs to convince him, and that has happened after 8 to 10 months time. It was not, so as I said, it was a very painful process we have gone through. And after 8-10 months, we got our first funding, and then subsequently other funding has come. Now we are in a better position. We can execute our ideas. Now, what we meant for? Meant for is this: we are trying to capture the Earth emission. I suppose you are all engineering students. Am I right? Am I right? One more thing I must tell you. I tell to my students कि तुम्हें जब भी कुछ लगता है कि I am telling something you are not going to your mind, please raise your hand and ask me. Please do it. I will be very happy to respond spontaneously. Don't wait for the end of my lecture to ask any question. You ask anything which you feel it's appropriate for you. These questions cannot be stupid. Only the answers can be stupid. So ask question whatever you feel like. You feel that it should be clarified. So the process, physical process which is happening are generally 2 or 3. जैसे reflection, refraction, emission, scattering. These are the physical processes which are happening. Now reflection process requires some source. Similarly, thermal also requires a source. And scattering, if it is active scattering, you don't need a source, it's a source on its own. Now our process, emission process, happens when any object on the Earth's surface is above the absolute temperature, it will continue to emit some energy. Now this emission tells you what is the temperature of that object. So that is our whole mission is capture the Earth emission data by the help of a satellite which is at a orbit, which is at a low Earth orbit, at 500 kilometer orbit. Try to capture the emission data and find out what are the temperature of each of these objects. Now this is, to tell you simplistic term is very easy. But when you try to do it, then you will have to do many other things. You will have to devise an instrument which can pick up that emission signal, and then you need a software, how to transfer it, and then you need another software to process the data. You receive the data and then you are trying to process the data. So every places you see the implementation of AI and ML is there. At every stage, it is there. So you can see the thermal emission happens somewhere between visible and microwave. And it is in the electromagnetic spectrum from 3 to 5 and 8 to 12. These are the 2 bands which are in the thermal band. And both the bands are having its own unique characteristics. The middle infrared band can pick up those objects which are higher temperature. So you can imagine an industrial area or maybe a kind of the fire which is happening can be picked up better in the middle infrared band, but the normal temperature zones can be picked up in LWIR band, which is 8 to 12. So this is the broad physics-wise difference, and this is very well explained if you know Planck's law. If you read the Planck's law, you will understand it. So that is what we are focused on, the thermal band. And this, we need to do it something which is known as a detector. The detector detects that thing and try to convert that signal into a digital signal. Right? So this is what our mission is, that can you pick up the earth emission energy which is coming out from a earth surface and then convert into the temperature, and that temperature is something known as a land surface temperature, LST. A land surface temperature is generally known as the skin temperature of the object. Now any image, finally you get an image, right? Any image, earlier speaker has shown some image which is basically the satellite data image in the visible region, mostly in the visible region. That's why you are seeing some colors which are green, blue, etc. But that's a visible image. What we are talking as a thermal image. Now the same image, whether it is from an agriculture field or for the Earth's temperature or even from the medical sciences, if you have an image from that thing, you can use your AI knowledge or the ML knowledge to do your job. For example, in a medical image, there are, if you want to identify the tumors which are cancerous, let us say, from the other parts of the body, basically you need to take that image and process that image. And then you'll have to tell that this pattern is something which is known as, which is likelihood of being a cancerous cell. So that thing, it will be done for you down that image, but it's an image again. And that image might be collected, might have been collected in some other zone. It may be IR zone, it may be a visible zone. So if you collect those images and do the processing, you will be doing something which is known as a medical diagnostics. The same thing we are also trying to do. We are collecting the thermal image and we are trying to find out what is the thermal behavior of the different objects. What are the thermal behavior of different? I hope you have experienced when you are walking through the road, there will be more heat will be coming than when you are walking through a lawn. You feel more pleasant. The purpose is this, the physics is this, that a layer which is an impervious layer will have a higher emission energy. So you feel more hot. But a vegetation which is having a lower emission energy, you will feel more comfortable. Right? So this is the physics on which our system also rides. So you need a payload, you need a detector, you will have to capture it and then convert this thing into digital signal and then process it. And this is what it looks like. A normal image on the right hand side of an area and the thermal image of that. You can differentiate. What you differentiate there, you cannot differentiate here. But what you differentiate here cannot be done on the right hand side. So you can look into the thermal behavior of the different objects on the Earth's surface. And that is very crucial, and this insight is required sometime. In an urban area, I will give you some examples in urban area, what we are doing it, how we are getting an insights in an urban area. I will give you some example. These are the different domains of applications when you are using a thermal data. It starts from agriculture. Agriculture, what you can do is you can do the evapotranspiration, which is a function of the temperature only. How much water will be lost, it is depending upon the temperature, what is incoming temperature and what is its flux going out. So that is one area. Then you can also use in the defense and security, because one good thing is a thermal image is that unlike visible image, since it is dependent on the process of reflection and sunlight, so it is dependent on the availability of the sunlight. So it can be only done during the daytime. But thermal image, since it is a thermal energy which is happening throughout the day, so it is a 24 hours kind of an observation you can have. You can have day and night observation also. So daytime thermal image and nighttime thermal image, their behavior will be different. And that behavior will give you different type of insight than any other kind of an image. So, and that is very important in security. For example, when there will be an encroachment or there are some kind of a people are trying to encroach in your border area, you will be able to locate those things, because human body emits higher than the natural surface. So you will be able to detect those people who are trying to coming into your country through some border areas by the thermal image. No other image can give you this information. So there are certain day and night advantages there, you can do it. Even you can identify some kind of a missile launch. If some missile launch is happening from some border area, just because its thermal difference is very high, thermal anomaly is very high, you will be able to identify the missile launch there. Then urban planning, I will come to example of that. Disaster like forest fire. This again is a MWIR band will be useful. I will give you that example also today, but very shortly. Sorry. Then climate environment temperature is one of the major climatic inputs for any kind of a model, whether it is a weather prediction model or any other type of model. Temperature is one of the major input in that thing. And then wildlife conservation, because the animal behavior also is a function of the temperature. So if you can find out the temperature, ambient temperature in an, I think the kind of a area which is inhabited by different type of animals, you will be able to probably predict the animal behavior, why it is happening. Well, I must tell you that yes, although we have started sometime in 24 middle or 24 end, but we have been able to fabricate our first payload, which you can see on the top, which was fabricated here itself, and it was already ready for the launch. It has been sent to Hyderabad for integration of the satellite bus, and then it will be launched sometime maybe August, September or October. Because we had to go to with the PSLV launch, but PSLV unsuccessfully, it was unsuccessful, unfortunately. So in a way we are saved also, because it didn't go. So we are planning for the next launch of PSLV or any other launcher available. So our payload will go with that thing. But remember one thing, once you have done with the payload, it cannot just go, it has to be space qualified. Now what is meant by space qualification? It means that it has to pass through certain kind of a environmental test. And what are those environmental tests? One is the thermal, because the temperature in the upper atmosphere is different. You know, somewhere it is hot, somewhere it is cold. So the thermal test has to be done. The second important characteristics of this space is that it is a vacuum. So thermo-vacuum test has to happen, which is happening here. You can see it. You simulate a condition which is a thermal, and the vacuum test is to be there. And the third important test is the vibration test, because when the satellite takes off, its vibration is very high. So your payload, your all electronic components has to sustain that vibration. So that vibration test is being done there. So we have been fortunate enough being in Ahmedabad that these facilities are available at our doorstep. Otherwise, if you go to a place like, let us say, some other state, you may not be getting UP or maybe Bihar or maybe MP. You don't get this facility so easily. It is very difficult. So, in fact, I was discussing with your VC, Professor Udani, that you must start a program, 2-year PG program on space technology and its applications from your university. Because you are in advantageous position in Ahmedabad to have facilities like InSpace, like Space Application Center, to support your student, not only by programmatically, but also by some kind of an internship and doing work with them. So please try to ensure that you start a PG program on space technology, because I see a lot of faces may be interested to come into this field, many engineering students, okay? Well, the solution is something like that. You have a microsatellite, and then you have some kind of an edge computing, because many of this processing are being done today in the orbit itself. You don't wait for the data to come to the ground and then do the processing. It is done on the on board itself. So those are the kind of a thing which is edge processing is done. And then once it is coming, you try to use your analytics, AI analytics, to prepare different kind of product tailored to different type of users you are having. For example, you have a forestry application, you have a agriculture application, you have an urban application. Their products would be different, and you try to generate those products by that means. Well, these are some of the features I have already mentioned, that it's an accuracy of 1 to 1.5 degree Kelvin. The data has an accuracy, inbuilt accuracy. Then it will have an edge for processing facilities. Multi-band imaging, I said already, it is an MWIR. Then cloud access, you can access the data through cloud and do the processing in the cloud itself. And then some of the custom models are available as a part of this facility. Well, now let me come to some of the applications where AI and ML has been used. And one of the major applications which you have been doing is something in the urban environment. And you must be knowing, you must be reading the term something called the urban heat island. You must be reading this term very quick. Now this summer is coming, you will learn this term. This is called the urban heat island. And what is urban heat island? It is nothing but the difference of your urban area versus the neighborhood. That difference is known as urban heat island. So that urban heat island is an indication or is a matrix to identify or prioritize the different areas within the urban domain for the purpose of your advisories. So that is what has been done. Basically the requirement is that you need a very high spatial resolution data. What we are planning is of the order of 30-meter spatial resolution data. And then the revisit frequency also should be there. Today, if you look into the AMC, they are dependent on the IMD data, which is basically a kind of AWH data, it's a location data. So that can be only taken care if you are using something like a satellite data. And if you have a constellation of the satellite, then the revisit can be improved. And for real-time UHI monitoring, you need the LST information 1 day in advance. Say, for example, if I want to give an advisory to my people of any word in the municipal corporation, I should get the information in advance. Means I should have a predictive modeling for tomorrow, for day after that. So if I have a prediction of those UHI well in advance, then I can prepare the advisories and can share those things with the people in the field. That will give the citizens a kind of a time to rectify or taken care of their health. So, where is the AI component in it? The first is that the data which is coming today from only available data is the Landsat data, and the Landsat data, if you know it, it's having a two payload, the Terra and the Aqua. And the Terra Aqua, if you join them, then they give you get something like a 8 days interval data. But the 8-day interval data is not enough for your UHI monitoring. You need the daily data. So how do you do it? What is the option? Option is that you do some kind of a temporal interpolation. The temporal interpolation is done by something called the spline function. I believe you are knowing it. Spline function, you do the temporal interpolation. That means you make a 8-day data or as a daily data. You try to create a daily data stack. The next is that the spatial interpolation is once you do the temporal interpolation, there will be a lot of gaps in your data, the value, which is to be filled up. And that filling up the spatial interpolation is done by something called the IDW, inverse distance weighted parameter. So that IDW gives you basically the correction of the pixel-wise data, pixel-wise information. So that is the second AI you are using it, or machine learning you are using it. And then what you do is that now you have a data, everyday data, corrected data for each pixel. I want to now get the prediction of the next day. So what you need is that you need to have previous 3 days, and if you want the data for the n+1 day, then I need a data of n-1, n-2, n-3. 3 days you need it, and from there you predict the n+1 days data, which has been done by something called the convolution LSTM. This is another ML algorithm which we have used it in order to have a kind of a prediction. So the 3 things we have done. First is the temporal interpolation, second is the spatial interpolation, and third is the predictive modeling for the next day, which has been done by the convolution LSTM. Please stop me if you are bored. Please tell me I am bored. Please don't talk of all these things. Then I will try to quickly pack up. But if you want certain clarification, tell me. Then I will be very happy to explain each of these processes. I am not taking this thing as a part of my lecture, but it will be done as your requirement is there. Okay? But if you are keeping silent, that means it goes above your head. This is what is my interpretation. So if you are going above your head, that means there is no point in my standing and talking to this topic. Okay? Now this is the whole model. What I have said it, basically the block diagram or the flow chart is something like this. The right hand side you see the architecture, convolution LSTM, which is basically predictive modeling. Predictive modeling. Predictive modeling means I have the 3 days previous n minus 1, n minus 2 data, and I am trying to predict n plus 1 day data. So I am using LSTM is basically the long and short temporal modeling. So that LSTM with convolution, convolution means I create something like a 3 by 3, 5 by 5, 7 by 7 raster and then try to move into each of this pixel. So that is convolution, you do it. So convolution with the temporal data, if you do, that is the architecture you are. I'm not going into architecture again because that will be still boring maybe. But remember, you will have to use this machine learning AI in order to make your data ready for use. And what is my data use? I need a data for the next tomorrow. I am processing today, I need the data for tomorrow. And because I want to give a prediction of the UHI to the citizens of this world so that they can be prepared. So this is what it has been done. Once it is done, then the next step is that how do you compute the UHI? UHI is, as I told you, very simple, that you have a pixel value and then difference between this pixel value from the neighborhood value where there is a no industry, no urban, that difference will give you UHI. So you get pixel wise UHI value. And then you try to integrate over the ward. Ward is the minimum unit in a municipal corporation area. So you try to integrate over the, how do you do it? You try to take an average or median, whatever you feel appropriate metrics, you can take it. So that's how the UHI is giving. Now UHI again has to be normalized because UHI of each pixel will be different. You will have to first average for the whole block and then normalize with the different blocks. So that's how it has been done, and thresholding normalized word-wise aggregated, you can get it. And finally you get a data like this. This is the UHI intensity map, which means the difference between the urban and the non-urban area, and then this is the normalized value of this UHI map. And this is what can be given to the corporators or the municipal commissioner to communicate with the world people so that you can see the different colors. The dark is the color, more UHI value is there. So you'll have to be careful about those areas. So these are basically you see the word boundaries are there. So all words are classified according to the UHI, normalized UHI values. So lighter is the color, safer it is. Darker is the color, so it's more prone to the UHI. Okay? This is the first application I thought I'll share where AI and ML is being used for a particular purpose with a thermal data. The second is the forest fire. As I said you earlier that in our data there is something called the middle infrared band, which is sensitive to your the high temperature zone. And the forest fire is generally an area where the temperature goes up to 400, 500 degrees Celsius. So you can use the MIR data for identifying those fire pixels. And that is actually been done. And generally the requirement is something like this, and you should have every, for forest fire, if it will not give you an indication that now there will be forest fire. So you'll have to continuously monitor these forest areas almost on every time, every minute you'll have to monitor it. But every minute monitoring means you will have to have a constellation of more than 25, 30 satellites, which may not be possible. So alternate is that you take a geosynchronous satellite and then continuously look at the area, but then your spatial resolution will be compromised. So these are some of the pros and cons of different type of satellites which you have been used. Now finally what you have done is that where your AI is coming or your machine learning is coming is something like that. You try to use the 1 kilometer data which is coming from the Landsat to do the data integration and do the gap filling by some kind of an interpolation method, and then you upsample it to 1 kilometer. On the other side, you have an inset which is coming from the geosynchronous satellite, and that temporal data is fed, and then you are creating the final data set. So it means that you are at every step of data processing, you are using certain knowledge, certain information to prepare your data sets for the purpose. And this is the algorithm that this algorithm has to be implemented in order to identify. Finally, you see the fire is this. MIR means middle infrared band. So this algorithm has been implemented in order to identify. And we have used this algorithm to identify these two things. You know, in Punjab, you must be hearing that there are a lot of parelis been burnt, right? Now, the farmers are very smart because now they know that you have a satellite which is moving on the top and its coverage time is something in the morning or afternoon time, 12 o'clock. So they don't burn the parelis in the afternoon time. What they do is that they are burning the parelis in the evening time. So you cannot, if you have a satellite which is covering your Punjab in the 10 to 12, you cannot find it. As simple as that. So LEO satellite will always have a constraint in identifying the parelis burning because it is coverage time, because sun synchronous orbit, so it covers the Earth's surface at a particular time in the afternoon time only. What we have done is that we have used INSAT data. INSAT is looking at the Earth's surface every half an hour. It is capturing that thing because it is at a 36,000 kilometer height. So it is constantly looking at the Earth's surface, and from that data we have processed this algorithm and we could identify these areas which are being burnt in Punjab. So my point is that even AI sometimes doesn't work if you don't have a data. So you'll have to intelligently collect the data. And the right hand side is of an area of a spot in Jaipur to Ajmer highway. You know, there was a time, at one point of time, there was a blast of a tanker. It happened in the early morning, and I suppose around 5 or 6 people died also. It was in the highway, Jaipur-Ajmer highway. This thing happened. And when you could find a data which is captured that event at 5 o'clock in the morning, we analyzed this thing with the same algorithm and we could identify the pixels which are burnt pixels. So my point is that there is a lot of insights in the data. Only it depends upon the intelligence of the people who are using the data. So please understand this thing, that data is only a dead thing unless and until it has been used. And it is used in an intelligent manner. And when you say it intelligent manner, means you will have to use your intelligence, you will have to use your ML, all those algorithms. Well, this is another, I thought, where AI is being used very conclusively is the methane emission. You know, methane is one of the greenhouse gases. What is greenhouse gas, by the way? Anybody can tell? Please. Sorry? Yes, exactly. The greenhouse gases are those gases which traps the outgoing long wave radiation. So short wave radiation comes from the sun, gets reflected as a long wave radiation, and this long wave radiation are being trapped by these greenhouse gases. And what happens? Because this energy is trapped, it is heated, and the heat cannot escape from the Earth's surface atmosphere. So there is a change in the climate. So that is and that's why we say that these greenhouse gases are detrimental for different kind of purpose. Some of the fallout of this climate change, you can see the sea level rise. This is one part. Then the Arctic and Antarctic zone, which is melting very fast. Over the last 10 years, it is very fast. It's melting because there is a change in the temperature of the Earth's surface. So some of these things are, so you'll have to basically, if you want to control, you'll have to know how much is the methane emission is happening. And where from the methane source, the process is basically, it's an anaerobic process. Anaerobic process means it happens in the absence of oxygen. So it's a process of reduction. How the reduction happens? With the help of the hydrogen, CH4 is formed and then water is formed. This is the normally process. So you need a kind of an environment where methane is formed. It's an anaerobic condition, that means less of oxygen or devoid of oxygen. Which are those areas? Which are those areas where the oxygen will not be there? When there is a water logging. That means water logging is there, the oxygen has been released. So those areas are potential areas for formation of the methane. That's what the physics tells. And that's why I say that the major source is the water log, and sink, it does not mean that it goes in but it is also a kind of a sink. Sink is basically the atmosphere. Oxidation happens in the atmosphere, so it sinks. So managing methane, one of the gases, is important in order to maintain the climate. And this is what has been done by another payload or another satellite, which is known as a TROPOMI. TROPOMI is a European satellite which is working at a SWIR band, 1.6 micron band. And that traps that frequency matches with the vibration of the CH4 molecules. So you can identify the CH4 molecules with the help of at 1.6 meter, 6 micron this thing band. And you can see the progress in different years. See, this is from 2019, then 20, 21, and then 25. You can see gradual increase in the methane emission happening. So there is a reason why one should be concerned, because it is methane emission is more means unless it is absorbed by the atmosphere, it is creating a greenhouse gas effect. You can see that 2025 and January, even there is a seasonal kind of a difference of methane emission. You can see in October, or why? Because it is immediately after the monsoon. And when there is a monsoon, there will be water logging. So it will create a conducive environment for methane formation. So you can see the after monsoon, the methane formation is more. And this is the progress in Indian condition from 19 to 25. And you can see that there is at the same time, gradually there is an increase in the methane, which should concern all of us because it is a greenhouse gas. And who is contributing maximum? Who are the culprits? Bihar and West Bengal. Because these are the two areas where agriculture is done under the waterlogging condition. So it creates almost 4 to 5 months, the paddy fields are completely waterlogged. And that creates a condition of methane emission. You can see that they are the major culprit of creating methane from the agriculture area. Well, I think that is where I stop my formal content, but I have few words about the students. You know, for the students today, you are both fortunate and unfortunate. Why you are unfortunate? Because there is not much scope of your career progression in the outside market. Today, if you see, the unemployment rate is very high. In fact, when I was DICT, I was finding the same problem. Engaging the students with the different companies at a respectable CTC was not easy. It was very difficult because I was a dean, I was happy. So that is one part of the story. But what is the good part of the story? Why you are fortunate? You are fortunate because there are emerging technologies which was not there during our time. Which are those technologies? AI. AI is one of the areas where you can solve many of the problems. In fact, today, if you say that it is the age of deep tech, 2 years from now, you will see that it will be the age of AI. Everything you will try to do through AI only. And that opportunity is now coming very clearly for today's generation of the students. Then there is another technology which is coming up very fast is the quantum technology. Quantum technology can solve many of the computing problems. Today, what you are taking for days together for computation, particularly the numerical weather forecasting, which is taking for, in a GPU kind of a system, more than a week for getting a result. In quantum technology, it will be much faster, much easier. Space technology, where I also belong, and my good friend, Professor Udani also belong. We have a kind of a training in space technology, and my whole career started from the ISRO only on the space. So you can say that maybe I was transformed into a so-called space technologist from ISRO only. It gives you an opportunity. So today that opportunity has come with the opening up of the space sector by the present government. Today we have in space something called a facility at in space where you get all these facilities for processing, for testing, for assembly, everything is possible. Everything is possible at in-space facility. And some of you who are interested in the space technology, please try to take them to the facility to show them what is possible there and why you should take interest in the space technology. And a third thing which is coming up is the semiconductor. You know, one of the things which are still been starving in our space technology is the manufacturing of the detector. Detector, still we are not doing ourselves. We are getting either from France or from US or from Britain. Why? One of the reasons is that because our semiconductor technology is not so well developed. Hopefully after 5 years time, we will be able to develop the detector, which is the heart of a payload, ourselves in our country only. So these are some of the emerging technologies which are coming up. But for the students who are having some kind of an entrepreneurship in their mind, that these are the options. I have started quite late in my life. I have started when I retired, and you can imagine it is 60 plus. Had I started in your age, something would have been different. And I expect all of you to take interest, to drive for this entrepreneurship. A lot of scope is there, a lot of money is there. Please, you need only a good idea, a spark in your mind. That spark, if it comes in any field, not a space, it may be AI, it may be semiconductor, it may be anything. If you have a spark, and you don't need discovery, let me tell you. You need innovation. Can you tell me something, what is the difference, discovery and innovation? Anybody knows? Discovery is the system is or the process is happening. You are trying to find out that process. For example, if you are finding out a atomic particle, that's a discovery. It's not that it was not there, it was there. But you have found out through some kind of a theoretical analysis that this particle is also there. That is discovery. You don't need discovery, you need innovation. And what is innovation? Innovation is nothing but making the process easier or making the process cost effective. If you can do it, and that requires a little bit innovation in your mind, how I can do the process in a more cost effective or time effective manner, then I am innovating it. And what you need is that innovation, a spark in your mind, in any field where you are interested. And that gives you a entrepreneurship in yourself. That is what is important. Thank you very much. I'll be very happy to answer any questions if you have it. If you don't have any question, then I will say, yes, I could not impress you. Yeah, please tell me.
It's more about the mindset, like you already inspired for the entrepreneurship, and I believe many of future entrepreneurs might be rising from here. We do see, I've seen people of my generation saying entrepreneurship just because it's cool. Now the thing is, motivation goes out the window very quick, like you said, for 9 to 10 months you were going to different people for the fundraising and everything. So I do believe our generation needs more consistency rather than just motivation. So I wanted to ask you, in that phase, how did you fight through that difficult phase of the thing? So kind of motivation to us also of how to, struggle through that hard phase.
Well, good question, I believe. I told you that you have an advantage. This generation has an advantage. Why? Not that today I have become 65 years. No. I have come through your age also. And when I compare myself with you, I see you are more intelligent than I was in your age. I'm honest. When I'm saying this thing, I'm honest. That you are more intelligent, your generation is more intelligent than my generation when I was in your age. Number one. Number two, you have more access to the information, which you are not having. Our access is only through books. And books are always available in the library. You have more access to the world. You can find out anything you find interesting for you just with a Google search, which was not available there. Number two. Number three, that you have more infrastructure at your command. Today you have something like in space, you have a space application center, you have a semiconductor company. It was not there that time. The industry was not so developed. Naturally, after 10 years also, it will be more than that. That's the process of progression in any society. But if I compare today's generation, yes, you have advantage because you are more intelligent than I was in your age. You have more access of information than in my age. And you are having more infrastructure and probably, I would say, mentorship available. So this, only you need an idea. You should have an idea in your mind कि ये कैसे करें हम. सब कोई कर रहा है वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन हम ऐसे कैसे करें ताकि there will be certain advantage in either in terms of money or in terms of cost or in terms of time or in terms of accessibility, let us say. If you can spark that idea, you are an entrepreneur. Rest will follow. You may have to struggle. We have also struggled for 9 months to get a first grant. So you may have to struggle not for 9 months, I'm sure, because you are more intelligent, more convincing. So you may struggle for 3 months. But you will get it, I'm sure. And there are a lot of avenues. If you have an idea, you start working on it. And there is something called IIM There is a kind of IIM adventure. If you have an idea, please proceed to them, please talk to them. They will try to promote you. Because they are looking for such kind of an entrepreneur in the society. So if you have an idea, or I'm not saying you alone, you as a group also. When I started, I was not alone. I had 2 other co-founders. And please try to see that you don't repeat your role. Your role, if you have 2 or 3 partners, your role should be complementary to each other. If you have a repetitive role, then it will be clash. There will be problem. Then you don't know which is the right one. So you should have a role which are complementary to each other. Does it answer your question? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir, for explaining how artificial intelligence and human intelligence go hand in hand. Now we have our next speaker, Shri Sanjay Keshav Lala sir. I request Honorable Provost SPU, Dr. PM Udani sir, and Conference Convener, Dr. PJ Patel sir, to welcome our next speaker, Shri Sanjay Keshav Lala sir. Sanjay Keshav Lala sir is IPS batch 2021. His first posting was at Modasa, and right now he is serving as a Superintendent of Police at current Cyber Center of Excellence, Gandhinagar, Government of Gujarat.
One thing you not mentioned, previous speaker Dr. Bose, he is a student of Dr. Bose.
Okay. A big round of applause. Now I request Sanjay Keshav Lala sir.
It is Keshwala, not Keshav Lala. Keshav and Lala. People are settling there, I think. Should we wait for 5-10 minutes? Yes. So, actually today morning I got call from Dr. Patel that you have to take this session. So I could not make any separate presentation for this, audience. But the theme for my presentation or my talk is little bit different than what Dr. Ghosh has, just mentioned about entrepreneurship and all. We are a law enforcement agency. I'm working as SP Cyber Center of Excellence, and our main aim and vision is to tackle the menace of cyber crime that is going on currently in India and in the globe as well. So, can anyone tell me what is cyber crime? Cyber crime होता क्या है? Any idea? किसी का साथ हुआ है कुछ? किसी के साथ साइबर फ्रॉड हुआ है? सर क्या हुआ था सर? सर इट वेनिशेस, किसी दूसरे के साथ, स्टूडेंट्स के साथ नहीं होता, बिकॉज सर एज राइटली मेंशन दैट दे आर मोर इंटेलिजेंट देन अस। हुआ है किसी के साथ? सो साइबर क्राइम मोटा मोटा मैं आपको बता देता हूँ। साइबर क्राइम इज नथिंग बट एनी अनलॉफुल एक्टिविटी दैट इज हैपनिंग थ्रू योर मोबाइल डिवाइस करंटली। It can be your computer, mobile device, Wi-Fi network or any other devices that you use. That is called cyber crime. उसमें डिजिटल अरेस्ट भी आता है, उसमें आपकी जो फेक आइडेंटिटी वाले कॉल्स भी आते हैं, आपके किसी ने आपको कुछ सेंड कर दिया वीडियोज़ एंड फोटोज़ लाइक न्यूड फोटोज़ एंड ऑल, साइबर बुलिंग भी आता है उसमें। तो दैट इज़ कॉल्ड मोटा मोटा साइबर क्राइम। सो we in Cyber Center of Excellence, we are nodal for 1930 helpline. So sir, you might have called 1930, you must have registered your complaint. So 1930, anyone has any idea about what is 1930? Have you heard about 1930? पता है ना? मेरा एम भी वही है कि आपको पता चले कि what is 1930. So 1930 is a number throughout this country to register any kind of cyber fraud. Cyber fraud can be of two types that I mentioned. One is we divide it in two parts. One is financial fraud, financial cyber fraud, and the second one is non-financial. Like cyberbullying is kind of non-financial where money is not involved. And 1930 is dedicated to register फाइनेंशियल साइबर फ्रॉड। सो आपके अगर कॉल आता है और बोलते हैं कि भाई मैं आपका दोस्त बोल रहा हूँ, ये रमेश या तो महेश, अभी मेरे पेरेंट जो है मम्मी या तो पापा की तबीयत बहुत ख़राब है, मुझे इमरजेंसी में 25,000 चाहिए या तो 5,000 चाहिए, 10,000 आपने ट्रांसफ़र कर दी है, दैट इज़ काइंड ऑफ cyber financial fraud. So if anything like that happens to you, you must call 1930. So 1930 is a centralized system where you can register your financial cyber fraud. अब इसमें 1930 काम कैसे करता है? I will just give you an overview. See, जब आप कॉल करते हो 1930, so वो लैंड होता है बेस्ड ऑन द सिम कार्ड, द प्लेस फ्रॉम विच यू हैव परचेस्ड योर सिम कार्ड. सो इफ यू हैव परचेस्ड योर सिम कार्ड फ्रॉम गुजरात, देन इट विल लैंड एट आवर सेंटर इन साइबर सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस गुजरात. इफ यू हैव सिम कार्ड ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, देन इट विल लैंड टू महाराष्ट्र. सो सेम वे जब आप कॉल करते हो तो वी हैव 3 sections in 1930 हेल्पलाइन. फर्स्ट इज अ कॉल रिसीविंग यूनिट, जो आपका कॉल रिसीव करता है, आपकी बेसिक जो डिटेल्स होती है वो नोट करता है. देन वी आस्क विक्टिम टू प्रिपेयर ऑल द डेटा रिलेटेड टू फ्रॉड हैपन टू हिम और हर, लाइक जो ट्रांजैक्शन हुए, जो नंबर से फ़ोन आया है, या तो जो वेबसाइट पे आपने क्लिक किया है, जो भी किया है, जिस टाइप का भी फ्रॉड है, तो उसका हम डेटा विक्टिम को बोलते हैं कि आप तैयार रखो. एंड अगेन वी कॉल फ्रॉम आवर साइड टू गेट दैट डेटा. एक बार कॉल आया, आपको बोला कि आप डिटेल्स तैयार रखो, आपका कॉल वहाँ पे ख़त्म हो गया. दूसरी बार हम सामने से कॉल करते हैं आपको टू गेट दैट डेटा, क्योंकि टाइम लगता है ना, आपके पास ट्रांजैक्शन के स्क्रीनशॉट आपको करने हैं, ये वो डेटा लेना है, क्या पता. अब आप यू आर इंटेलिजेंट बट नॉट ऑल पीपल आर इंटेलिजेंट. जो हमारे पेरेंट्स होते हैं या तो जो सीनियर सिटीज़न होते हैं, उनके लिए टाइम लगता है, तो दे गेट हेल्प फ्रॉम देयर रिलेटिव्स. उसका सन हो गया, डॉटर हो गया, या तो कोई नियर बाई कोई भी पर्सन है तो उसकी हेल्प लेते हैं, तो इट टेक्स टाइम. तो इसलिए हम वापस कॉल करते हैं टू गेट दैट डेटा एंड देन वी सबमिट द एप्लीकेशन. एक बार एप्लीकेशन सबमिट होती है, देन इट पुशेस थ्रू NCRP पोर्टल और 1930 पोर्टल टू ऑल द स्टेक होल्डर्स. जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उसको वो पुश होता है. अब इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? से फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपका SBI का अकाउंट था जिसमें से 10,000 रुपये गए, तो फर्स्ट नोटिस विल बी सर्व टू SBI कि नाउ यू टेक एक्शन दैट दिस फ्रॉडुलेंट ट्रांजैक्शन हैज हैपन्ड इन योर बैंक अकाउंट, सो यू टेक एक्शन। अगर उसमें 10,000 होंगे तो वो फ्रीज कर देगा, अगर उसमें नहीं होंगे तो वो कहाँ ट्रांसफ़र हुआ है वो डिटेल है वो NCRP पोर्टल पे या तो 1930 पोर्टल पे वो अपडेट करेगा। तो से फॉर एग्जांपल SBI से वो गया है HDFC, तो HDFC में भी अगर वो अकाउंट पे कुछ पैसे पड़े हैं तो वो ब्लॉक होंगे, फ्रीज होंगे, और अगर नहीं है ट्रांसफ़र हो गए तो वो अपडेट। तो ऐसे लेयर बाय लेयर है, वो ऑटोमेटेड प्रोसेस है जिसके थ्रू हम ट्राई करते हैं कि मैक्सिमम जो फ्रॉड अमाउंट है दैट गेट फ्रीज्ड। यू आर गेटिंग माई आइडिया? आपका 10,000 है, दैट इज डिवाइडेड इनटू 100, मे बी 1,000, मे बी वो 5,000 करके दो उसने ट्रांजेक्शन किए हो, फिर 5,000 से वो 500 करके उसने 50 ट्रांजेक्शन, 100 ट्रांजेक्शन किए हो। वो सबको हम ट्रैक करते हैं एंड वी ट्राई टू फ्रीज एट ईच लेवल। अगर 100 रुपीज़ भी वो 5th, 6th या तो 10th लेयर में गया है तो वी ट्राई टू फ्रीज इट। तो ऐसे ये मोटा मोटा ये चलता है। अदर टाइप ऑफ crimes are like I've already mentioned anti-bullying unit we have in our cyber center of excellence, जिसमें आपका कोई व्हाट्सएप है हैक हो गया, फेसबुक हैक हो गया, या तो साइबर बुलिंग, गाली गलौज कर दिया, न्यूड फोटोज़ वीडियो शेयर कर दिया आपका, तो उसके रिलेटेड जो भी कंप्लेंट्स आती है दैट इज़ डेल्ट विद बाय एंटी बुलिंग यूनिट। तो ये जो एंटी बुलिंग यूनिट है दैट इज़ यूनिक इन गुजरात, ये कोई दूसरे स्टेट में नहीं है। वी रजिस्टर केसेस ऑफ नॉन फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड ऑल्सो, दैट इज़ नॉट हैपनिंग इन अदर पार्ट ऑफ द कंट्री, तो गुजरात उसमें यूनिक है। एट द सेम टाइम NCRP जो 1930 हेल्पलाइन is run by I4C. I4C is a nodal agency for cyber crime related registration and investigation and all the coordination between states and different stakeholders. So I4C is coming with an SOP and they are getting ideas from our anti-bullying unit. जो हमारा यहाँ पे है उसी को वो same they are going to replicate in throughout this country. So that is also one of the unique thing about Gujarat. So ये मोटा मोटा as sir has already mentioned that this is the time of AI. So this is an example of notebook LM that you all must be using it. So ये एक example है cyber fraud का कि 12th of November we registered one, or rather we received one complaint and that amount was around 2 crore and 19 lakh. And जो ऑटोमेटेड सिस्टम मैंने आपको बताया कि जो ऑटोमेटेड पुश होता है, नोटिस बैंक एक्शन लेती है, तो उसका रिजल्ट क्या आया कि वी वर एबल टू होल्ड अराउंड 2 करोड़ एंड 11 लाख। कोई विक्टिम है जिसका गया है 2 करोड़ 19 लाख इज़ अ ह्यूज अमाउंट। ओके, 5 लाख की अगर अभी मुझे कहीं 5 लाख निकालना पड़े तो मुझे दूसरे 5 जन से मांगना पड़े, तो ये तो मतलब 2 करोड़ एंड 19 लाख उसकी, अगर लोअर मिडिल क्लास का कोई बंदा है तो उसकी लाइफ सेविंग भी हो सकती है ये। तो दिस काइंड ऑफ केसेस आर ऑल्सो कमिंग एंड दैट इज़ ऑल्सो पॉसिबल कि अगर आपने 1930 में विद इन 1 आवर 2 आवर कॉल कर दिया तो दिस रिजल्ट कैन बी देयर। ये आपके लिए भी हो सकता है इन केस यू आर विक्टिम ऑफ साइबर फ्रॉड। सो दिस इज गुड एग्जाम्पल ऑफ हाउ कोऑर्डिनेशन कैन गेट द बेस्ट रिजल्ट्स। लाइक हमारा काम है जस्ट सबमिट करना, बट बैंक का काम है कि उसके ऊपर एक्शन लेना। अब 2 करोड़ है बैंक का पूरा, अगर आप बिजनेस देखो तो दैट इज इन लैक्स करोड्स, मतलब लाखों करोड़ों में है वो, उसमें 2 करोड़ इज नथिंग, बट दे हैव टू वर्क ऑन इट एंड दे आर वर्किंग ऑन इट एंड दैट्स वाई वी आर गेटिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ रिजल्ट्स। सो दिस इज वन एग्जाम्पल। दिस इज सेकंड एग्जाम्पल, उसमें भी हमने ऑलमोस्ट 100% वी वर एबल टू फ्रीज दैट अमाउंट। ये जो ट्रेंड्स है साइबर के, दिस इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू। सी वी स्टार्टेड अराउंड 2020 एंड एट दैट टाइम वी रजिस्टर्ड और वी रिसीव्ड almost 25,000 complaints. We received 25,000 calls. That total fraud amount was almost 95 crore. And see the number in 2025. That has reached to almost 7 lakhs, 6 lakh and 91,000. See the magnitude, see the change. And the total fraud amount, that is almost 1363 crore. Started from 95 and we have reached, this is not a milestone, I am not saying this is milestone, but this is the kind of situation that we are tackling. So 1363 crore, and that too registered. We are not talking about unregistered. Okay, so many people don't register their complaint due to some social reason, personal reason, whatever it is, but they don't come to us. तो ये इतना magnitude है इसका. See now where our role is. So you can see the middle portion. We were able to hold only 11% in 2020. 11%. 100 रुपए गया है तो 11 we were able to hold. Now in 2025 we have reached up to 26.45, almost 26 and a half. So ये 26 and a half, this 5 year में, this is an achievement. We call it this is an achievement. And in December 2025 we were able to hold almost 50%. 50% is a milestone. क्योंकि इसमें होता क्या है कि जैसे आपका पैसा गया है तो फ्रॉडस्टर वहाँ तैयारी बैठा है. वो कहीं पे भी, इवन गुजरात में भी हो सकता है, ही में भी इन बिहार, ही में भी इन छत्तीसगढ़, ही में भी इन महाराष्ट्र, राजस्थान, एनीवेयर. उसके पास एटीएम होगा, चेकबुक होगा, जैसे आपका ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ, दे हैव वेरी गुड नेटवर्क ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, जैसे आपका ट्रांसफ़र हुआ वो वहाँ पे विड्रॉ कर लेगा. तो सीधा मतलब ये चोर पुलिस का जो ओरिजिनल गेम होता है ना पुराना वाला, ये ऑनलाइन चोर पुलिस चल रहा है कि ये चोर है, इसको पकड़ रहे हैं हम ऑनलाइन. तो ये मतलब हमारे लिए काफ़ी चैलेंजिंग होता है. स्टिल वी आर डूइंग इट. और ये दिसंबर 2025 इज़ अ लाइक माइलस्टोन, वी कैन कॉल इट अ माइलस्टोन. 50% वी वर एबल टू होल्ड. अब उसमें देखें हम कि कौन कौन से टाइप्स के साइबर फ्रॉड जनरली होते हैं. तो इफ़ यू गो बाय नंबर्स, नंबर ऑफ कंप्लेंट्स, मेजॉरिटी इज़ फेक आइडेंटिटी फ्रॉड, ऑलमोस्ट 28%. मतलब आपका दोस्त बन गया है, कोई पुलिस वाला बन गया है, कोई बैंक मैनेजर बन गया है, कोई चाचा भतीजा, कुछ भी बन सकता है आदमी. ओके. और आवर प्रेजेंस इज़ एवरीवेयर. अगर हम यहाँ आए तो कहीं पे तो रखा होगा, इंस्टा में या तो फेसबुक में, या तो कि किसी पे हमने फुटप्रिंट तो छोड़ा ही है. यहाँ से निकलेंगे तभी पता चल जाएगा. ओके. कल क्या किया है वो भी पता है. दैट इज़ ऑल्सो अवेलेबल इन सोशल मीडिया. तो हमारा फुटप्रिंट सब जगह है. तो मतलब आपके कितने कनेक्शंस है, कितने कॉन्टेक्ट्स है, एवरी डेटा इज़ अवेलेबल विथ फ्रॉडस्टर्स. सो दे आर यूजिंग इट. एंड 28% है. बाकी अगर आप देखें तो OTP फ्रॉड कई बार होता है. हमें पता है कि हमने तो शेयर भी नहीं किया और हमारा ट्रांजैक्शन हो गया, बट उससे पहले आपने एक कॉल रिसीव किया होगा जिसमें आपने जो अपना जो भी OTP है दैट इज़ शेयर्ड थ्रू कॉल. अब OTP दो तरीके से आता है. एक SMS थ्रू आता है, एक कॉल पे भी आता है. तो यू हैव इनेबल्ड इट OTP थ्रू कॉल, और आपने कॉल फॉरवर्डिंग कर दिया, आपको पता नहीं है. तो ऐसा भी होता है कि आपको लगता है कि मैंने OTP नहीं, फिर कंप्लेन करने जाते हैं तो यू से कि भाई मैंने तो आई हैव नॉट शेयर्ड माई OTP, स्टिल दिस ट्रांजेक्शन हैज़ हैपेंड. आप बैंक को बोलते हो या तो पुलिस को बोलते हो, बट एक्चुअली ऐसे होता है. ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग फ्रॉड, कई सारी वेबसाइट्स है जहाँ पे आपने ऑनलाइन ट्रांजैक्शन किया है, फिर जो चीज़ है वो आती नहीं है. इफ़ यू गो बाय द अमाउंट ऑफ फ्रॉड, उसमें मेजॉरिटी इज इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कैम. मेजॉरिटी इज इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कैम. और वो ये बहुत ही नेचुरल है बिकॉज वी आर गुजराती, वी आर मेजॉरिटी आर गुजराती ना. तो प्रॉफिट जहाँ पे दिखेगा वहाँ तो गुजराती पड़ेगा ही. तो बट सर मैंने ये देखा था कि इवन US, UK, कनाडा, उसमें भी जो उसका डेटा है दैट शोज द सेम ट्रेंड. उसमें भी इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉड है वो मेजोरिटी पाया जाता है। तो वहाँ पे भी गुजराती होंगे शायद। तो ये जो है दैट इज़ ऑलमोस्ट 42.42%। लाइक 100 रुपये जा रहा है, उसमें से 42 रुपीज़ इज़ इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉड। अब वो आपको क्या बोलता है कि आप इसमें 1 लाख डालिए, आपको 1 वीक में 1,10,000 मिलेगा, मतलब 10% रिटर्न विद इन 1 वीक। कहीं पे मिलता है ऐसा रिटर्न? फिर भी लोग डालते हैं। आप 1 लाख डालिए, आपको 10 लाख मिलेगा 1 महीने में, या तो 6 महीने में, या तो साल में। तो 1 साल में मतलब 10 गुना। एवरेज क्या है रिटर्न इंडियन मार्केट का? 8%। 8% वेरी लेस है, कोई नहीं करेगा इन्वेस्ट। कितना है? 12 to 15%। 12 to 15% वो कर रहा होगा ट्रेडिंग। हाँ, किसने बोला? 12 to 15%। सो 12 to 15% है, मतलब एनुअल एवरेज इंडियन मार्केट का रिटर्न। अब फिर 15% है तो यू कैन एज्यूम कि 25 हो सकता है, 30% हो सकता है, इतना रिटर्न हो सकता है। बट ये डबल कर रहे, 10 गुना कर रहे, सो दैट इज इम्पॉसिबल। तो उसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉड में आ जाता है। नाउ यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट डिजिटल अरेस्ट, सबको पता है। सी डिजिटल अरेस्ट इज ऑलमोस्ट 6.21% ऑफ टोटल फ्रॉड अमाउंट। जो टोटल फ्रॉड अमाउंट है 1363, उसमें से 6.21% इज डिजिटल अरेस्ट अमाउंट वाइज। But if you go by number of calls, number of cases of digital arrest, it is only 0.31% of total calls. 6,91,000 calls that we received last year, out of which only 0.31% is digital arrest. 358, if we go by number, 358 digital arrest complaints we registered last year. तो सी, एक बार डिजिटल अरेस्ट हुआ तो मतलब वो आदमी को साफ करके ही जाएगा। ऐसा ही हुआ ना कि उसका जो मैग्नीट्यूड है पर केस का, दैट इज मोर कंपेयर टू अदर टाइप ऑफ फ्रॉड्स। तो डिजिटल अरेस्ट जैसा कुछ होता है? होता है कुछ? देयर इज नथिंग लाइक डिजिटल अरेस्ट। अगर हम आपको अरेस्ट करना है, हम नहीं चाहते कि आप अरेस्ट हो, बट अगर करना पड़े तो वी कम फिजिकली। ओके, कोई कोर्ट नहीं है, कोई सीबीआई नहीं है, ईडी नहीं है जो आपको ऑनलाइन अरेस्ट करती है। और इसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि इलिटरेट पर्सन या तो कम पढ़ा लिखा आदमी है वो इसमें फंस जाता है। वी हैव सीन केसेस हाईली एजुकेटेड पीपल फॉल प्रे टू दिस काइंड ऑफ कॉल्स। सीनियर वीपी है, बिग कॉन्ग्लोमरेट इंडिया का है, उसमें रिटायर्ड है, 85 इयर्स की एज है। उसको कॉल आता है कि आपका जो इंश्योरेंस है वो अभी लैप्स जाएगा, उसका जो प्रीमियम है आपको भरना पड़ेगा। तो वो उसमें प्रीमियम भरते भरते साथ में उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट का भी एक स्कीम देते हैं कि आप इतना परसेंटेज आपको रिटर्न मिलेगा। ये ऐप है, उसमें दिखता है कि आपका जो नंबर है इट इज़ गोइंग अप एंड डाउन लाइक शेयर मार्केट। उसमें भी ऐसा होता है ना, ऐसा तो नहीं कि सीधा ऊपर जाता है। आज डाउन है यहाँ पे, आज तो बंद है, आज तो बंद है, तो अप डाउन होता है उसमें भी। तो ऐसे ही एप्लीकेशन भी है, आपको दिखता भी है ग्राफ है, अपने जो भी अमाउंट आपने इन्वेस्ट किया है। ही लॉस्ट ऑलमोस्ट अराउंड 55 करोड़, ऑलमोस्ट 55 करोड़ से। अब हम मतलब वो एट द एज ऑफ 85, मतलब वी रिस्पेक्ट हिम हिज एज, बट अगर एट द एज ऑफ 85 आपको 55 से कितना बनाना है? 55 से कितना बनाना है? सही बात है कि नहीं? बीइंग गुजराती वी थिंक इन दैट वे ओनली, बट वी डिड इट, वी tried our best and we recovered almost 5 crore. Out of 55 crore, we almost recovered 5 crore. We gave 5 crore to that victim. So ऐसा होता है, इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कैम कई सारे टाइप के आते हैं जिसमें विक्टिम्स भी बनते हैं। और ऐसा नहीं है, कई सारे यंगस्टर्स भी उसमें फंस जाते हैं, क्योंकि ट्रेडिंग तो आज हॉबी में कई सारे लिखते हैं कि मेरा हॉबी है वो ट्रेडिंग है, पर ऐसे जो लेजिटिमेट प्लेटफॉर्म्स है उस पर ही हमें ट्रेडिंग करना चाहिए। ये जो है वो डेटा है, सी द नंबर, सेकंड लास्ट जो कॉलम है उसमें POH है, दैट इज़ नथिंग बट पुट ऑन होल्ड। सो वी स्टार्टेड एट अराउंड 11.62 और जनवरी में इन 2026 इट वाज अराउंड 36.27%। ये बैंक वाइज डेटा है, आपका कुछ काम का नहीं है ये। दिस इज ऑपरेशन म्यूल हंट दैट Gujarat police has conducted in December 2025. So what we did, we get all the data of mule accounts. अब आपको पता है mule accounts क्या है? What is mule account? Mule accounts means भाड़े का account. आप अपने नाम पे account open करते हो, दूसरे को दे देते हो for other purpose, not for your own personal use. तो उसमें कई सारी जो इलीगल एक्टिविटीज़ होती है वो ऐसे अकाउंट थ्रू होती है। तो वी रजिस्टर्ड ऑलमोस्ट 549 डिफरेंट FIRs, अरेस्टेड 506 डिफरेंट एक्यूज्ड और 793 म्यूल अकाउंट्स थे जिसको हमने टारगेट किया था इसमें। एंड सी द टोटल क्राइम्स डिटेक्टेड, इससे जो ये म्यूल अकाउंट से जो कनेक्टेड थे 3600 करोड़ के टोटल फ्रॉड था वो उसमें कनेक्टेड था। कनेक्टेड इन द सेंस कि दूसरे के भी पैसे आते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि गुजरात का अकाउंट है तो गुजरात वाले विक्टिम का ही उसमें जाता है, महाराष्ट्र वाला भी हो सकता है विक्टिम, ही कैन बी फ्रॉम UP बिहार एनीवेयर। तो ये जो है ये उसका मैग्नीट्यूड है, 3600 क्राइम हमने डिटेक्ट किए, 1850 करोड़ का वो टोटल जो ये जो अकाउंट्स थे 793 उसे इतना फ्रॉड अमाउंट लिंक्ड था। सो यू सी द मैग्नीट्यूड, 793 अकाउंट्स और टोटल फ्रॉड कितना है 1850 करोड़। अब जो उसका इम्पैक्ट था वो क्या था कि जनरली जो फ्रॉडस्टर है वो विड्रॉ करते हैं चेक या तो ATM से। तो ये जो हमने थ्रू आउट स्टेट ये ड्राइव की थी और मेजॉरिटी हमें जो हमारा ऑब्जर्वेशन था कि यंगस्टर्स इसमें ज़्यादा म्यूल अकाउंट्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं क्योंकि ये कमीशन बेस्ड होता है। मैं अकाउंट देता हूँ, अगर 1 लाख उसमें ट्रांसफ़र हुआ है तो मुझे 5% या तो 10% जो भी टर्म्स उन्होंने सेट किए उस हिसाब से आई विल गेट दैट कमीशन। तो इजी मनी है, सिर्फ अकाउंट ही तो ओपन करना है, बाकी दे देना है, पर ऐसा नहीं करना है। ओके, क्योंकि उसमें किसी का डिजिटल अरेस्ट का पैसा भी हो सकता है, किसी का आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट का भी हो सकता है, कोई सुसाइड भी कर लेता है। इतने सारे अगर लाइफ सेविंग आपकी चली जाती है एंड यू हैव सोशल ऑब्लिगेशंस, तो फिर क्या करेगा आदमी, तो वो भी केसेस बनते हैं। तो आपको कभी आपके जो भी नियर एंड डियर वंस है उनको ये बोलना है कभी भी भाड़े का अकाउंट या तो म्यूल अकाउंट्स नहीं देना है। तो ये सी द रिजल्ट, 80% रिडक्शन इन चेक विड्रॉल एंड एट द सेम टाइम 66% रिडक्शन इन ATM विड्रॉल। तो ये कोऑर्डिनेटेड एफर्ट अगर हम लगाएं तो उसका इम्पैक्ट हमको ग्राउंड पे दिखता है। दिस नंबर्स शोज दैट। Other thing that we do is, as I already mentioned, in case of one senior citizen, we refunded almost 5 crore rupees. So Gujarat Police is having तेरा तुझको अर्पण पोर्टल, आपका ही है, फ्रॉड हुआ है और आपको ही वापस। So तेरा तुझको अर्पण। तो what you have to do if anything like this happened to you, you lost some amount of money, if it is still freezed in other accounts, you just have to apply at nearby police station. Police will do everything. He will coordinate with court, he will coordinate with bank, and ultimately that amount will be credited to your account. So that is called तेरा तुझको अर्पण पोर्टल। तो किसी का अगर साइबर फ्रॉड हुआ है, उसका अमाउंट होल्ड है, वो भी आपको मैसेज आ जाता है, तो आपको अप्लाई करना है नियर बाय पुलिस स्टेशन पे। सो ये जो है ऑलमोस्ट 83 करोड़ के टोटल कोर्ट ऑर्डर्स लास्ट ईयर 2025 में हुए रिफंड के लिए। उसमें से वी वर एबल टू रिफंड ऑलमोस्ट 150 करोड़। ये लेटेस्ट नंबर नहीं है, बट वी वर एबल टू रिफंड ऑलमोस्ट 150 करोड़। तो 150 करोड़ हमने वापस दिया है लोगों को। ये सम चैलेंजेस है दैट बैंक में से कोई है, बैंक इज पार्टिसिपेंट हियर, बैंक्स आर नॉट पार्टिसिपेंट्स ना। तो बैंक के साथ हमारे कोऑर्डिनेशन जितना अच्छा हो उतना विक्टिम या तो सिटीज़न को फ़ायदा होता है, उतना ही ज़्यादा फ्रीज होता है, इतना ही जल्दी जो अमाउंट है वो रिफंड होता है। आई विल क्विकली गो थ्रू लास्ट स्लाइड्स। यस, सो रीज़न बिहाइंड साइबर क्राइम क्या है? रीज़न बिहाइंड साइबर क्राइम एक तो है फियर, जो डिजिटल अरेस्ट में हमको देखा जाता है। डिजिटल अरेस्ट में इट इज़ नथिंग बट फियर। आपको लॉ एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसी बन के डराते हैं और आप डर जाते हैं। ओके। सेकंड वन इज टेम्पटेशन, ग्रीड, जो हमने अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉड में बात की, लालच है। और लेजीनेस, क्योंकि हम अपडेट नहीं करते अपने मोबाइल डिवाइसेस, सॉफ्टवेयर, वो भी एक रीज़न है। हम सिक्योरिटी पे ध्यान नहीं देते। एपीके फाइल स्कैम, ये कई सारों को एपीके के मैसेज आते होंगे। आरटीओ में जब आप आरटीओ चालान के आते हैं, है ना, दूसरे भी कई सारे आते हैं, तो ऐसे कोई भी एपीके फाइल है उसको आपको डाउनलोड नहीं करना है। आपको इफ़ यू वांट टू डू एनी यू वांट टू डू डाउनलोड एनी एप्लीकेशन, यू डू इट थ्रू प्ले स्टोर और ऐप स्टोर। ओके, सो ये नहीं करना है कभी। ये एपीके फाइल से दे जनरली गेट एक्सेस टू ऑल योर डेटा, आपका डिवाइस का एक्सेस मिल जाता है, देन दे डू वेरियस ट्रांजेक्शन्स थ्रू योर इंटरनेट बैंकिंग। ये जो है डिजिटल अरेस्ट स्कैम, ईडी है, सीबीआई है, या तो लोकल पुलिस है, वो बन के डराते हैं आपको, और अगर आप डर गए तो देन यू हैव टू ट्रांसफ़र योर मनी टू फ्रॉडस्टर्स। तो डिजिटल अरेस्ट जैसा कुछ नहीं है। कभी भी डिजिटल अरेस्ट होता है, अगर आपको कॉल आता है तो यू डायरेक्टली कॉल 1930 और यू कैन डायरेक्टली गो टू योर नियर बाय पुलिस स्टेशन। फिशिंग, ऐसी फेक वेबसाइट बनाते हैं, आपका डेटा ले लेते हैं, एंड देन दे मिस यूज दैट सेम डेटा अगेंस्ट यू। ओके, आपका बैंक अकाउंट, पासवर्ड, ये वो सब ले लेते हैं, एंड देन वो जो डेटा है उसको मैनिपुलेट करके आपके साथ ही वो फ्रॉड करते हैं। तो ऐसी जो जेन्यून वेबसाइट्स होती है, एप्लीकेशंस होती है, उसको ही यूज़ करना है हमें। हर एक लिंक पे, हर एक एपीके फाइल को हमें नहीं डाउनलोड करना है, नहीं एक्सेस करना है। इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉड, ये तो मतलब सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी है कि जो भी लेजिटिमेट प्लेटफॉर्म्स है उस पर ही हमें करना है इन्वेस्ट, बाकी हमें कहीं पे ऐसे लालच में नहीं आना है। कुछ बातें जो हमें ध्यान रखनी है, एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट 2 फैक्टर ऑथेंटिकेशन। ओटीपी के साथ आप रखते हो, पासवर्ड भी होता है आपका, वो ज़रूरी है, नहीं है तो कर लेना चाहिए। आपका यूनिक पासवर्ड होना चाहिए, उसको भी यू फ्रिक्वेंटली चेंज इट। ओके, जो फिशिंग अटैम्प्ट्स है उसमें कॉशियस रहना चाहिए। प्राइवेसी सेटिंग अपने चेक कर लीजिए आप। और मोबाइल डिवाइसेस है उसमें भी जैसे मैंने बताया कि ऐप्स, इफ़ यू वांट टू डाउनलोड एनी ऐप, यू डू इट थ्रू ऐप स्टोर और प्ले स्टोर, और उसको अपडेटेड रखिए। आपका जो डिवाइस है उसको अपडेटेड रखिए। इन केस ऑफ ऑल द प्रिकॉशंस, अगर कुछ हो जाता है तो रिमेंबर डायरेक्टली कॉल 1930। क्या है नंबर? क्या है नंबर? क्या है नंबर? 1930 पे कॉल करना है। ठीक है, अगर आपको लगता है वेदर इट इज़ फ्रॉड और नॉट, दैट इज सेकेंडरी। आपको लगता है कि कुछ सही नहीं है, डायरेक्टली कॉल 1930। ओके, आपको लगता है कि कुछ फिशिंग अटेम्प्ट हुआ है, आपका व्हाट्सएप है, इट इज़ नॉट बिहेविंग इन अ प्रॉपर मैनर, आपको लगता है कि सम अनयूजुअल ट्रांजेक्शन्स आर हैपनिंग थ्रू योर बैंक अकाउंट, डायरेक्टली कॉल 1930। अगर वो फ्रॉड होगा तो वो रोक सकते हैं हम, अगर फ्रॉड नहीं है तो आप पे कोई एक्शन नहीं होगा कॉल करने के लिए, ओके, बट इट इज़ फॉर योर सेफ्टी। सो डायरेक्टली कॉल करना है किस पे, रिमेंबर दिस। थैंक यू सो मच। इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस, कोई क्वेश्चंस है? थैंक यू सो मच।
Sir, if you allow, I will answer. Is mCoach app is legitimate app?
Thank you, sir, for all the instruction and guidelines how we can keep ourselves digitally secure and safe. Now I request our Honorable Provost SPU, Dr. PM Udani, sir, to welcome our next speaker, Dr. Madhukant Patel, sir. Madhukant Patel, sir, is founder of Reve Nanoscience LLP and former scientist of ISRO, Ahmedabad. A big round of applause. Thank you, sir. Now I kindly request Dr. Madhukant Patel, sir, to deliver his keynote. This is the remote. Okay. Caller mic we don't have, this one is okay. Thank you. Here is the remote of your PPT.
Namaskar, good morning. So, Dr. Udani, Ghosh sir, faculty, guests, student friends. So, by the time PPT is loaded, I'll just show you that this is the instrument we have designed for soil testing. So we call it a digital farming revolution. So this instrument has a tri-band spectrometer, which is UV visible infrared. So it's a 3-band, and we have a nano sensors. So those sensors are made of nanomaterial. So once you put it to soil, there will be some kind of electron exchange, because they are different metal and there is different composition in the soil. So it will be some electron moving here and there. That will form about some nano ampere current, and that we measure. So this is on a nano physics, optical science, and this one is a microwave sensor. So the microwave basically makes a dielectric coefficient of the soil. Now dielectric coefficient tells a lot of things about the soil. One is moisture, more prominent, and some other components around connected with the moisture or some dielectric heaviness of the material. So we have blended with C technology. So the optical spectrometer gives like counts of photon kind of. So that are counted and converted into appropriate numbers. Nanomaterial gives some nanoampere currents, we convert into digital format, and at the calculation gives the numbers. And this dynamic coefficient gives kind of variable capacitor. So we see change in capacitance and we then calibrate with the appropriate stuff. So in the first layer we have 3 technologies. Just behind it is a microcontroller, and before that we digitize it. So once we digitize, so that digitization will help us to make the numbers or the values compatible to the microprocessor. Because in today's era, microcontrollers are digital and the physical phenomena, they are all analog. So nature has made things analog naturally, and we need to process in digital, so there is always an interface. Those interfaces are quite critical, because to convert nanoampere into digital data is not all that easy. It has a lot of noise, a lot of interferences, and like if there is some little mobile phone ringing, for example, around, it will generate several millivolts or milliampere current into the device. So you can imagine my signal is nanoampere, my interference is milliamperes, 1,000 times more. So you need to understand in this particular language that your noise around is much stronger compared to signal. Even what Dr. Ghosh explained, the satellite imagery many times contains more than 90% noise. So noise is always heavy हो जाता है on the signal. So signal is always in a minority in most of the case, and noise is in a majority. So something called signal pre-processing. So we do at embedded level to reduce noise and normalize the data. Now normalization means, for example, if we take the photograph with the bright light in the front, we get dark face. So, or otherwise if it is a dark background and more light on the face, it will be bright face. But once we talk of face recognition, we need to normalize with the background and the foreground. So those are called the normalization. So need to weight in such a way that they are measurable. Otherwise, they are not measurable. We used to measure like capsules on a blister. So sometimes you have red blister, a red capsule, and you have camera to monitor it. So both are red, so you can't differentiate that easily. So then you have to go by other method, that you throw certain types of light, where the plastic is a blister and tablet is a more like a synthetic material. They have different reflection property, and you try to find out that is the information. So you need to do such tricks to just see that we pick up data from the noise by different tricks of illumination and by reflections. So in this spectrometer, we have 5 sources of light. We have UV LED, visible LED, infrared LED, red laser and green laser. So we have 5 sources of light which we throw on the object, and we throw one by one all of them and measure all the spectrum all the time. So it's a phenomena, it's called something called Raman shift. Now what Raman shift tells is, I throw say for example 570 nanometer and I may get 590 nanometer back. So this is called Raman shift. Why it happens is a different phenomena, but it happens. So we throw one wavelength, we get another wavelength out, and which will tell a lot of about the property of the target material. So especially in the human body, in the fruit, vegetable, it happens much more. It depends upon the molecule, which type of molecule, and how they resonate. So when they resonate on a fall of photons, we measure the property. That's how it works. So these are like I told you the basic things, how we sense it. And if you have good sensors, then remaining things are relatively easier. So what we'll try to do is, I think, it's on. So what we'll do is, I have the hardware, I told you, the front end of the hardware. Then, of course, we have wireless and all other things to make things, the data goes to the cloud ultimately. So, because of the volume of data, we need to have a very large amount of processing. For example, one click, we do it on the sensor, we do about 16 factorial mathematical calculation. You can imagine it's like millions. So those millions are basically goes to the whole trained model and lot of things. So that's how we get the information, because what we see is much different. Like we see optical, we see nanomaterial, we see micro, and we need to find out soil property. So they have no straight relation. Relation is established through machine learning. As Dr. Ghosh explained that how machine learning works in a very simple terms. So we need to tell this change in this wavelength or reflection of this much is actually nitrogen in the soil, something like this. And theoretically we can identify about 200 soil stuff. So with so much of different combination, you throw different light one by one, so maybe some 5 factorial kind of thing we get. So we get huge data through the spectrometer, and we need to crunch them through machine learning. We fed about 2,000 non-soils with the soil report done in the lab. This is how we do machine learning. So we get it done through help of Gujarat government. They have 22 soil labs in the state. We went there, took the soil sample, report, etc. This is how we did the initial calibration. So one more thing I'll tell. Dr. Ghosh explained that it took about 9 months to get first funding. I think he was very fortunate. I approached hello. So I approached government before some 7 years or 6 years that this was my innovation. I had a small prototype. I went. The committee member was I think Chief Secretary, IIT MTech, very arrogant. He feels that I have the best knowledge of the world. Rest all are Bajipura kind of thing. So I explained how it works. No, I don't believe. So it's working in front of you. I took the soil, I took the sensor, I took in the screen. This is how it works. It's all bakwas, humbug. It doesn't work like this. Then he told, you are even like you are from ISRO, retired, a good age. Why to start up? Start up is for the young people. So I thought that he is not going to give me money. 20 lakh he was supposed to give maximum, 20 lakh. So I realized he is not going to give money. So I said, sir, wait, you need to listen before 5 minutes. You told me, now you have to listen. There were 22 people, the committee, big committee in Sachivalay. I told, as per your data, out of 100 startups, 95 fails. The committee is right. I told, you don't have Dr. Madhukar with you, and now don't have Dr. Ghosh with you. If they are with them, they will not fail. This figure will become reversed. So that's what is my experience. And 2 places some grant is approved, but as of now I don't got it. So it's more than 5 years. I'm still happy, and I'm not tired because I don't have grant. So one stage of time I asked my son, Putravadu, daughter, Damad, देखो भी मुझे काम करना है. मेरे पास इतना प्रॉपर्टी है, शेयर, म्यूचुअल फंड वगैरह है. आपको चाहिए मुझे नहीं चाहिए, तो मैं उड़ा दे रहा हूँ, तो उड़ा दो. So I had my own self-funded thing. This is 5 years, 5 crore is quantum of my tapasya, and I'm very happy that today it's used many part of the world, which I tell you, it's types of come. So as a startup, we should not get disheartened by fund. Fund is small money. But more than that, the good part of the fund is to get a good recognition. We are highlighting in the government publications and things like this. So there's always benefit, but startup fund don't really help us to achieve our goals. So I was inspired by Modi sir. I was working with him very closely when he was CM here. He told that you are a scientist, you are a farmer, do something for my farmers. I told sir, I don't have time and money. Don't worry, when you have time and money, do it. And I sincerely did it. And I only told to his office that he blessed me and I have done it. So his PA told me in Delhi, whenever you feel like go to meet him, I'll definitely make a meeting with PM there. So I'll be going sometimes. This is what you told and this one is already here. So as I told you, like what we did, we measured the physical composition of the soil, physics part of it, chemistry and biology. So measure all the three. And you will be surprising that significant amount of soil issues or soil matter concern are biology. And in today's India, soil health card, only soil card, health is life, biology is not there in the soil health card. And that's why we are not that much effective. So we provide the biological part of it. And the other part is, we put it, click it, and we get instant report on the farm and the mobile of farmer, straight, in 30-40 seconds. So the two things we bet on, and that's what is helping us to go a lot. So they explain to you, in the optical science, the smart nano sensors, the microwave sensors, the three combines the technology, and on that we have embedded and what we call even like a edge device. So this is a little tiny edge device which does a lot of pre-processing, signal conditioning and sent to the cloud. And Professor Udani gave me a good hint yesterday that you should use hardware of the mobile without screen, without SIM card, without etc. and make a powerful edge device. So it was really touching me, and we'll do that so that we have more power to compute with reasonable available hardware. So that will surely do. We have larger memory at 2 core, 3 core CPUs will help us a lot. So this combination of these three technology, then tri-band and all other AI ML is helping us to really go to the really. So this physical parameter in the soil, they look like this: electric conductivity, carbonate, bicarbonate, calcium. These are the physical parameters of the soil, which are not very large in number. Now wheat, NPK, etc., they are something similar what we get. And on the chemical parameter, we get all these different compositions which fall into a chemical parameter of the soil, which we get on our click. And what we call the biological parameter is related to bacteria, fungus, humus, termite, aflatoxin, chemical residue, mercury residue, and lead absorption. So these are the things. Now when we started, these were not this much. But one NGO called Patel, India, is a global NGO, came to my office 2-3 times with our big team. They told we need mercury residue, very dangerous for the humankind. Mercury in the soil, very little, but that will propagate to the plants, to the animal, to the seeds, the fruits and flower, to the human. And it is a big pain globally that mercury propagates from soil to the farm produces. So we had done that. Very successfully we have done it. So we detect mercury. And then a couple of more different companies, the lead also is very important. We got feedback from Amul that aflatoxin is something which is very dangerous, which is part of the seeds which are little contaminated. And farmers don't know the seeds are really having aflatoxin is there, germs inside or not. They put it in the soil. It will grow with the plant. It will go into animals, it will come to the milk. Go to the human, it will be affecting our health. So another serious matter which we could detect. And lately, before 10 days, I got a phone call from one banana farmer from Bhavnagar that we have the report, what to do. Then we give the advisory, the advisory that you have a lot of, forgot the name. So you have to treat it. So I think not listed here. So we gave 2 things. One is fungus, a little high, and it is nematode. is quite high. Risk factor is 75%. Less than 25% is a manageable level, more than 75% nematode. So the two treatments he did and his crop was saved. So we could save a lot of crops because of the based on data and the prediction. So this was very important parameter for saving the crop. So we have saved about 30-40 crops in a big scale based on the advisory we generated through these reports. So potential globally, we have Switzerland, Germany, USA, some part of Africa, and some part of Russia. 3 countries around Russia, they use our sensors, and we have got about 8,800 farms tested through our soil sensor globally, and we have this amount of data set. So we are reasonably rich in the data volume now, and if we see India around this region, Gujarat, really more because we are in Gujarat and we started with Gujarat, so we have more data collection around Gujarat region. So this one already we have global, and they get a live kind of a link. So they click on the link anytime, put the cursor, and they will get the report immediately on the tips there. So if they want to see later, they also can see anytime after that. So after we started giving to people, we found very, very interesting use cases out of this. So one company in Switzerland, Germany, they are doing carbon mapping. What they want to do is, they want to find out the carbon consumed and absorbed by soil and give the credit to the carbon, to the farmer. They want to give money to the farmer who has put it into environment and absorbing the carbon. So that's the assignment they did, and that's why they purchased from us. And they enjoy collecting data from farmer and establish a mechanism to give money, a hard cash money to the farmer who are contributing to the nature. If you see environment protection, farmer does a sizable job, but no credit. A lot of carbon credit is done in US and big companies, but farmers have nothing to gain out of it. But this particular NGO is very keen to give money to the farmer by some mechanism. They are using for that. In the Russian region, they give one very important feedback to us, that in Russia and all the region, they test the soil water first. The water, because they have tap water, well water, river water, ice water, rain water, all different waters are there. Those water have different property, and they are not suitable for all the crops. So they told that we test the water first, then the soil, and then we advise the farmer which crop we should put into that. So we added that feature now recently based on the feedback. So what they do, the first they take the container, put the water, take the water data, and then take the soil data, and then we blend them through AI. So what should be the advisory for which crop with a minimal cost, or which crop for maximum return, something like this. In USA, that company is preparing cattle food. They want that we should give the organic cattle food to the animals so that we get organic stuff output. They are using for that. And one company is there, biochar. So give biochar, regenerative biochar. So they measure the soil before, they put the biochar and they measure the soil, and then try to check what is the effective of regenerative carbon in the soil. So they are using for this purpose. Then in Maharashtra, part of Karnataka, they have farmers, coffee, cocoa, etc. And one company in Bangalore, they are making, I forgot to bring the device, they have a device which they treat the water. So hard water becomes soft. So they wanted to check the effect of soft water on the crop. So they are using for that purposes. And in Africa, we got feedback that yes, we want to test the soil, but Africa is largely on a kind of mines, Khanij. So if we can test it, they will be very happy to test it, then do the first survey that what money they will get out of lending their the land for mining purpose. So a lot of use cases we found as we went along. So what like predictions we are giving is say a crop predictions, health, that yield, for precision farming advisory, traceability. This was asked by of the NGO in Bangalore that we want traceability of the farm produces. So what they do, they put a QR code on the bag. So you scan it, gives the which farmer, what soil quality, what water quality, now it came to your bag. So they use for the digital traceability of the farm produces. And supply chain. Why it is so important, we found that one company is a pesticide company. They told that we waste pesticide worth 400 crore in a year because they are short life and they dump it before monsoon and sometimes they are not required. So they have to withdraw and they have to spoil it, they have to discard it. Lot of money required. So if they have awareness of this stuff around soil and properties, their supply chain can become more efficient. That's what they approach us for such purposes. So as I told you, the first Agni Pariksha started with the noise. We took about 2 years to understand what is the noise, how to minimize, and all lot of things we did in our own lab. Then we went out slowly, but it's a tough task to really make it noise free. Then normalization, as I told you, is also a big effect. For example, I have a soil. In the summer, it's dry. In the monsoon, it's wet. In the winter, it will be some other, like cold, whatever. And we don't have that target material which is uniform. We don't know what amount of moisture will be there inside. And for any such technology, it may be microwave, nanomaterial, or the optics, they were all sensitive to the moisture. So if moisture is not controllable, then we will get a wrong data or possibly inaccurate data. So we took a lot of time to normalize it by putting different moisture amount, by different temperature. There are a lot of things we did, and then we put the sensor accordingly. So when we put the probe, we measure the moisture level, and if required, we advise them to add some water, known quantity of water. We measure the temperature also, and then we take the other data thereafter. So we take the background references right on the source. And then a lot of calculations are done, and the software, which may look like something like this. So from farm, take the data to the edge device, the MQTT server, to the cloud, then we post it accordingly to different compartment of the server based on the source and possibly destination. And we do a lot of calculation, and it comes back again through the MQTT protocol, comes back to the mobile device with the results. So this is how the data flow roughly. So you can understand it is quite a diversified journey from sensing to the result. Is lot of different technology techniques are used to make the flow, and more than that, we measure the temporal data, the time data. So like for example, before sowing, germination, flowering, fruiting. So this is the trade of demand by the plant. What all demand, what dynamics of the demand, and they are getting better advice based on the forecast, based on the stage of the crop. And as I told you, we save a lot of farms, like banana farm I told. Then the gentleman, my engineer went there in the farm. I told him there are a lot of fungus there. You know, I'm a very clever farmer, a knowledgeable farmer cannot be. Then he took the plant out and found small fungal activity started in the roots. And he told my crop is saved. Otherwise, it will be like a wow. And someday it will be dried. So likewise, cotton crops will help a lot of people. And you have a lot of extra fungus, and you need to control the fungus rather than NPK. You have enough NPK, no need to put more NPK, but rather control your main issue. So a lot of farms they give the advisory, and disadvantage of water. The one that treat the water like the front is the device, which will soften the water by 95%, and they are using for testing the effect of soft water on the farming. Few companies in Gandhinagar, they told that we put 50 to 60 crore rupees every year to test the cotton seed quality. And we have a very interesting use case. We started behind it, worked a lot of hard on that, and today we can classify them. We can classify seed by seed. It's a long journey to do it, but we can. We have checked it in the lab, and we have checked that we can classify. Because in the cotton there are not a lot of breeds. Breed X, Y, Z, a lot of breeds are there. With each breed they have hybrid male, female. Now they sell hybrid, but male, female is the contamination with the hybrid, which is a problematic. So they want the breed type, no mix of the breed. Within the breed, no mix of male and female with the hybrid. So it was quite complex, but we studied, we went to the farms, what they do, we studied all those things, and we found that it is doable. We can do seed by seed, which they are not started because it's a huge task for them. But technically it is possible that yes, we can measure these things. And in Halol, there is only one, and fortunately one Prakrutik Krushi Vidyalaya. And they tested our device to check the level of their fermentation of their different jivambu or other ammus they produce. And we gave very scientific way of finding the majority of this fermentation. So that we did in Halol. Then we are testing fruit vegetable. It's already happening in National Forensic University in Gandhinagar. That they are helping us to calibrate it. And we have beautiful result. Even like 2% chemical residue we can detect through the spectrometer and qualify the organic or inorganic. So that's like how we distribute. So it's all like internal data of the processing and how things look like when we plot into certain fashion. And before that we had a lot of data sets in that. So what we are heading towards now is soil health. What we are doing, digital healthcare is our big journey. Then biotechnology, we are adding a lot of values for research for qualification of chemical and biological parameter. And food quality is underway. So the response spectrometer of the like handheld, like microphone. And this what we have done the calibration. What black line you see the same soil. Measure in the soil lab again. We see the deviation black line and the same soil. We will again with our spectrometer is almost like 99% repeatability. So this is what we have achieved. We found that repeatability of the soil labs itself is not more than 60-65%, while we are almost like 98% repeatable across a large sample volume. So we are going to add some more power by putting there are a few more slides, I think. Let me see. We want to fuse the satellite images and let's see how it goes. Something like this. This is our objective, that we put all N, P, K, C, all of the data on a map and try to generate a much better advisory. And we want to blend the satellite data also so that we have much better, strong advisory. So soil and satellite 1 plus 1 becomes 11, not 2. That's what we have seen in the initial research. So we are very keen to work, and maybe we can meet it separately. And if we can fuse something like this, it can add a lot of value to the farmer. A very strong advisory to do something like this. So we have proposed for Porbandar to do research at this level. That is every component of the soil we can have a map. So map becomes multi-layer, like a book, open page, different characteristics of the soil, and then you find different treatment, different advisories based on this one. So this is how we have proposed, that we get all the biological things also on the map, and you can give the advisory. So this was like we did some discovery on different by one district Amreli, and we found that we can prepare some maps like this, which can give very strong advisory to the farmer. So that's what I had to tell you now, based on time constraint and your patience and maybe my patience. I thought this would be enough. Thank you so much.
Anyone have any question?
So therefore I am going to propose that we will work with your district there very closely, your university. Wonderful. But that's very much needed because we have to take initiative somewhere where we go to farmers, show them the advantage. If they feel there is some money like no farmer, they don't believe. But if they see there is money in hand, they will run behind you. Sir, that's what like sir told. That hello everyone.
Kindly keep silence.
જેને પણ ઇન્ટર્નશીપ કરવી હોય, થીસીસ કરવી હોય કે સ્ટાર્ટઅપ કરવું હોય તો જરૂર મારી કંપનીમાં આવો. સાહેબને કંઈક ખાસ રજાઓ તમને આપશે, સમય આપશે. મે બી ફેકલ્ટી અને સ્ટુડન્ટ ટીમ બનાવી સર. We'll invite them for internship training. We can take to the farm also. We can educate them. And I believe if you work sincerely, you can become a unicorn. In terms of advisory, going to farmer, help them. So તમે આમાં ભવિષ્ય જોઈ શકો તમે, કારણ કે ફાર્મિંગ છે એ બહુ ફંડામેન્ટલ વસ્તુ છે દુનિયામાં. અને અત્યારે ટ્રમ્પ દાદા બધા કાકા હોય એટલે જોવે છે કે ભાઈ રશિયાનું જેટલું ફૂડ સપ્લાય બધું બંધ થઈ ગયું દુનિયામાં, તો પીપલ હેવ પ્રોબ્લેમ ફૂડના અને ગુડ ફૂડ ક્વોલિટીના. તો એવરીબડી સિંગ ઇન્ડિયા ઇઝ અ સોર્સ. એન્ડ સર આઈ ટેલ વન થિંગ, આઈ ડીડ અ પ્રોજેક્ટ વિથ વર્લ્ડ બેંક in year 2000. And they told that time half the world is hungry. Half the world is hungry. They don't have proper food and don't have timely food. And they told India alone can feed half of the world. That's what World Bank had a pure derivative. The India alone can feed half of the world. So that means we have good opportunity. We can produce a quality food and supply to the world. So I can accommodate as many as you can. Like if you got 30, 40, 50, I don't have problem. I will train them very well, invite them for startup or internship, for thesis, for whatever you want, and we can work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for all the opportunities and soil analytics. Now I request Dr. Manish Patel sir and Dr. Bibha Basu Mohanty, Conference Secretary, to welcome our next speaker, Shri Pavan Saxena sir, with bouquet and memento. Pavan Saxena sir is cybersecurity professional with more than 5 years of hands-on experience in offensive security and red teaming. Currently, he serves as the head of the Red Timing Department at Tech Defense Security Limited, Ahmedabad, where he leads advanced security assessment. Now I request Shri Pavan Saxena sir to deliver the kind.
This would be fine. Sure, thank you. Very good afternoon, everyone. Settle down. We can initiate this, right? Perfect. So today we are going to talk about cybersecurity, how the cybersecurity is impacting the AI impacting to the cybersecurity, and how we could make a security focused products, and how can we do the revolution towards the industries such as pharma, such as medical and agriculture, right? So I represent here TechD Cybersecurity Limited. We are a service provider company. We serve into various of enterprise MNCs. We are into the industry from 2017, and these are the key sectors that we serve into. The cybersecurity in terms of training, in terms of SOC, in terms of red teaming penetration testings, and also helping you define and create a cybersecurity posture for your company as per the needed compliance, right? And these are the few of the Hall of Fames or the companies that we have served into, including the MNCs in international markets such as Apple, Google, HackerOne, Buckroud, as well as in India, Adani, Astral are a few of the customers into the cybersecurity field, right? So that's about the company. Now we come on to the cybersecurity 2.0, the AI era. From all of you, how many of you have worked around cybersecurity or know about cybersecurity? I see few of the hands. So could anyone of you tell me what is the importance of cybersecurity? Environment in terms of networking, okay, that could be one of the sector. Anyone else? Data being compromised. Okay. So while we talk on the cybersecurity, any of the industry we take, we focus on the information or the data. That's the priority of cybersecurity. How we can secure the data. So while we talk on the different part of the security, for protecting the data, there are three main or the key pillars that we take in. First one is the precaution. That even before the attack drives towards us, how can we be secure enough that there can be no potential cyber attack that could be conducted on the application or the industry or the data. The second one is if and when the attack is created or generated towards us, how can we detect that attack? How can we monitor and how can we take the precaution to stop that attack or the breach or the data breach that could be taking place. And third one is about the user awareness, that once and the post the data has been compromised or the attack has been controlled, how can a user take down the particular attack, minimal the damage or the attack that has been done, and how can we recover in the business. That's called as business continuity plan. Now the question comes, how does the AI drives the cybersecurity? Any idea? Let's take the first pillar, which is the precaution. So any idea how the data can help, AI can help us do the precaution towards the cybersecurity or any attack that comes towards us? Okay. Backup system is the part of third pillar on the recovery part. Constant lookout is something where AI comes in the place. So let's take an example of AI shield, right? Let's take a good example. Do you know about SOC, SOC, Security Operations Center? Any idea? Okay. So let's the SOC operations are basically the domain or the people sitting at your laptops. Let's take example of medical field. For example, you have pacemakers. Everyone aware about the pacemaker that helps you to the patient, helps to beat the heart. Now pacemaker needs to ensure your heart beats at a certain rate, needs to pass that monitoring to certain monitoring devices or the cloud servers that are kept, so that the monitoring could be measured of the patient. Now let's take a scenario. The pacemaker was compromised by an attack. Now attacker has a control to to set the rate for the heartbeat, how fast the heartbeat would pump by controlling the pacemaker which was compromised. Now in this scenario, there weren't any kind of security protocols implemented. Now if I want to secure this, how could I secure this? The first one would be keeping an eye on the pacemaker, monitoring the pacemaker if it is working on a expected scenario. There is no anomaly on the particular pacemaker working. How can we do that? We can integrate AI, or you can say the LLM models, which are trained by the data of pacemakers. That how the pacemaker works, what are the scenarios, what are the normal and what are the abnormal things of a pacemaker. That can be given as a data set to the AI, training the data set, the AI agent, and implementing that agent as a monitoring guard, or you can say as a security guard, who would take care of that particular pacemaker 24/7, and in and where it finds out any kind of anomaly or any kind of unexpected scenarios, it would generate an alert towards the security center or the monitoring server to tell them that there has been certain anomaly on this particular thing and share down the logs, right? So that is called as the AI detection pattern, which we use on our day-to-day basis, where the server, even before the server gets compromised, we could tell this server is being attacked, and in the place of attack, the AI has that much understanding due to the trained model of data set and the LLM models, that particular server would be closed or shut down as soon as it finds out it's under the attack. The reason being of it getting shut down are three. The first one is to not let the virus or that particular attack spread down to the other devices on the network. Second, the data which is being the attacker who is trying to steal down the data should not be able to extract that data from that particular server. As soon as we close the server, the AI automatically closes down the server. The data extraction won't be possible. And third scenario would be where the attacker, if there's any kind of footprints that attacker has kept in, basically while you try to exploit any server or the machines, you left on certain digital footprints on that particular server. If there are footprints present on the particular server, the attacker should not be able to wipe those particular footprints, right? So that's where we put down the analytics of the AI LM model into the detection of SOC centers. Hope that's clear to everyone, right? We come next to the automation to automate on red teaming activities or penetration testing activities. So first of all, any idea on the red teaming part or the VAPT part? Yes. Yeah. So while we talk on the red teaming part, we try to find out the vulnerabilities on particular systems, identifying what are loopholes that are present on the systems. It could be network, it could be servers, and identify how an attacker could use these particular loopholes to do an exploitation, to do an particular pen testing on those and get data extracted or compromise a organization, or end of the day reach to a data breach, right? So how can we automate this? As of now, we are doing manual testing. As of now, this is done as manual base of pen testing. But how could we automate this? So for the automation, we could use AI again. For AI to understand how the attacks are being crafted, how the attacks are being done, we will be providing the data set of the past breaches that has been occurred and what were the root cause of those. How the data breaches were occurred, what were the root cause of those, what parameters were there, what technologies were involved in the breach. We could pass on this data to particular AI, the agents that could analyze that particular data, and based on the data set that we have provided, they could perform an automative recognition and perform a penetration testing on the particular servers or the machines that are present. Right, again taking the example of healthcare that we discussed earlier on the pacemaker. Now, pacemaker is made up of multiple ICU chips or the electronic chips, you can say, or microboards, you can say. So, do you think microboard as a hardware does require security, or it doesn't require security because it's hardware? Sorry? Requires security. What kind of security, if you could example? Okay. Perfect. So IoT security comes in the place while we talk on the hardware based security. Now any hardware that is used into the product, it could be certain kind of pacemakers, it could be in the ICU where there are multiple medical devices. All of those devices transmits that data to another server to monitor, to get identification of the particular medical situation that patient is going through. What if that particular hardware is hacked? Do you guys know the recent attack that was occurred by Israel towards a country of Afghanistan related to a medical device? Have you gone through that case study, anyone? Okay. So in this particular case study, there were the page makers that were passed to the country to all the day-to-day users, or you can say the normal, general people in the country, they received this particular pacemaker. The family members of the politician received this pacemaker, the Praja device, sorry. That guys were using it as a normal device, and one day suddenly all the pressures that were passed to the country blasted with no anomaly detected earlier by any kind of checks. When the root cause analysis were identified, they found out that Israel planted an malware into that particular device in the ICU board of that circuit board, that at certain point of heat when it received remotely, it would blast. Right? Now this shows us the importance of IoT security and why the cybersecurity is coming into a daily based activity. Right? So while we talk on any kind of circuit devices, it comes into the security parameters of IoT, where we ensure the hardware part, where the data is being stored, the data is being transmitted, the protocols which are used to transfer the data, all comes under through the security checks, right? So that's the part of the IoT security and red teaming VAPT activities. Now, as we were discussing earlier in this slide about the phishing campaigns, or the phishing campaigns you can say, or the social engineering, that's the main agenda, the main domain is called as social engineering, where we try to hack the human brain, how the human thinks, how the human behaves on certain parameters, right? So it has multiple part in it. The first one comes under the phishing simulation. Now phishing, we saw in the earlier slides we saw there was a phishing campaign run where the similar page of Instagram was presented. But there were obviously there were few points which easily highlighted that this is a fake one and this is the original Instagram login page. What if we use AI or the LLM models or the agents to train them on that particular website so well that they can mimic the page completely ditto copy of the original one? That can be done, right? That's what the AI does. Gets trained on the AI, the AI gets trained on the data set, perfects the art and makes the mimic of that particular original website. So in recent cases, if you see on the cyber attacks, cyber fraudsters are using AI as their weapon, where they are passing on the data set of the particular websites or the victim user which they are trying to manipulate or target to mimic down all the information about that particular user and get the most accurate data out of those. Phishing is one example. Let's take a scenario of the AI calls, or you can say the deepfake technology. How many of you are aware about deepfake technology? None? Okay, let me help. So deepfake technology basically means mimicking a user completely on the social media platform. So for example, you might receive a video of your family member saying ki I need some money. A video, not a call, not a message, not a text message, a video, right? How many of you would believe that this is a real one? Most of us, right? Because we know our family members by their face. What if I say that was a AI generated or a deepfake technology video, where the masking of your the family member face or the body structure masking was done to show that that particular user is asking for that money or the credential or data or something like those, right? So that's what deepfake technology is. I give an example about a video, but that could be represented or replicated towards the calls as well. You will get a call from your family member sounding same like your family member or the relatives that you might know. The voice tone would be the same. If there's certain common words they utilize, the AI would be trained so well that the call that you received would be using those similar words also to mimic the person they are trying to scam. Right? So to automate this kind of stuff or to utilize this kind of attacks, nowadays the fraudsters are using this deepfake technology and the AI trained models to utilize and do a attack towards the victim users or the normal users, right? And so does comes with the malware and viruses. There's a myth in the market that goes कि iPhones are secure or the Apple products which comes MacBooks are secure and does not get infected by malware or viruses. Is that true? How many of you believe that? कि MacBooks or iPhone doesn't get viruses or malwares or doesn't get corrupted basically. None of you believes that? Great. So the myth in the market runs that way, but the fact is that nowadays the malwares which are crafted, the viruses that are crafted, can impact any kind of security devices, even if you have firewalls implemented. Malware and firewall, malwares and the viruses could bypass those as well. Now the question comes, how does they bypass those? Right? If you are technically aware, the firewall works on the signature based attacks. They have a certain signature registered towards the malware, viruses and all kind of attacks, and if they detect any kind of similar signature, they block that particular package or incoming traffic to avoid any kind of compromisation of your systems. But now the new era viruses and the malwares are coming with a smart thing called as AI. Again, they bypass the firewalls by manipulating the signatures, by manipulating the signatures that they are giving towards the firewall while doing a handshake or while trying to enter towards the network. And they manipulate the signatures using the data set of past models, the rule set which are already given to the companies, and they use those data set and they are aware about the signatures that they have, which they shouldn't be mimicking. Right? Based on those particular technologies and the technical points, they do bypass the implemented firewalls, the IDS IPS or the any kind of EDS IPS implemented on the network and the endpoint devices. Right? So now question comes, as a organization or as a endpoint user, how you should be secured enough to ensure that none of the following cyber attacks you are the victim of one of those, or your organization gets victim of those. The first thing which would easily come down to is about the security awareness. You should be up to date with the various kind of attacks that are coming to the market. It could be phishing, it could be the deepfake technologies or the AI LLM models. Nowadays they are evolving like something. And to be aware of the AI models and everything. Secondary, to ensure before doing any kind of financial transaction or passing on any kind of sensitive information to any kind of application servers or the company or the user as well over the call, you need to ensure is that particular user authorized and authenticated to do the following thing, or the applications which you are sharing your data or the transaction that you are making, are those applications valid, and the signatures, or you can say there are certain authority signatures done on the application, basically hash values and all, are those valid or not? Once you are aware of those points, then you can do the transactions or you can pass on that sensitive information to the application in and when needed. Right? So that's the few points that can be taken care as a end users. And for the enterprise level, of course, there are various of architecture designs that comes into the place where you should take care of IDS IPS systems. You should ensure the anonymity of the signature shouldn't be bypassed, because of course if there's an attacker who is using the AI, as a defender we also utilize the AI, or we could utilize the AI to ensure the security of the data and the infrastructure that are being utilized on the day-to-day operations. Right? So that's all on my end. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Now we have a lunch break for 30 minutes, and after that all technical sessions will start. So kindly report at your technical venue.